Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha, the awesome tribes of Israel. Rabbi Simon Altef. Can everybody hear me, please? Give me a 1, thank you. Shabbat Shalom to you, Rabbi Zakaria. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Kefa, over there in hot Texas, the little land of milk and the little land of milk and oil, oil presses, crude oil land. And Shabbat Shalom to the rest of you, the awesome tribes of Israel. Okay, great. Today our Parsha, as you know, is what happened to our little. Oh wow, interesting. I thought I had put something. I thought I had put the latest Parsha, but obviously probably didn't apply it correctly. So it disappeared. Okay, not a problem. Let me fix that. Let me apply that so we can get that working. Okay, let's apply that one. Good. Okay, that's up there. It's a double Parsha today. Parshas Matod and Maseh. Those are the two Parshas that are happening today. So, now, before we begin, do we have any questions from last week's session before we move on? I'm pretty sure we talked about a lot of stuff. And, okay, alright, nothing coming through, okay. Rabbi Kefa, do you have any updates or do you want me to carry on? Rabbi Kefa's in the room or is just left? Looks like he may be in and out. Okay, not a problem. So I shall continue. I shall continue with my joke. Okay. There was a rabbi and his wife. They were cleaning up the house. The rabbi came across a box he didn't recognize. His wife told him to leave it alone. It was personal. One day she was out and he was curious as to what exactly was in that box. He opened the box and inside found 3 eggs and $2,000. When his wife came home, he admitted that he opened the box and he asked her to explain the contents to him. She told him that every time he had a bad sermon, she would put an egg in the box. He interrupted. In 20 years, only 3 bad sermons. That's not bad. His wife continued, and every time I got a dozen eggs, I would sell them for $1. Okay, so let us continue with the happenings of last week and so on and so forth. Now, what I'm actually finding is a number of things I'm finding with students across the world. And here is some of my findings, is that people are, I'm not sure if they're understanding what I've been trying to explain the last 6 months. And sometimes I feel like, I'm speaking to a wall and not to people, because people are still doing the wrong thing. So I thought it would be a good idea to maybe go over some of these things again for those who may not have it properly or maybe doing it incorrectly, like a student across the Middle East. He is struggling with his employment, and the method that I gave him clearly didn't work for him because it didn't apply correctly. And so when I came to him and I asked him, what did you actually do? And you see, people have this airy-fairy belief system that you can just, believe and then just leave it at that, and then it'll just transpire. That's not how it works. I'm going to read out to you something from the book of Isaiah so that you get a little of, little gist of what's going on. I think it's a good idea. Let me open up the book of Isaiah. Let me actually open up my second Bible. I think that would be a good idea, because I already have one open, and I don't want to take away the way that positioning is of this Bible, so I can come back to it later. So now let's go to Isaiah. I want to go to a couple of prophets actually, not just Isaiah. I want to go to Isaiah, and I probably also want to go to Habakkuk as well. So I'm going to go to Habakkuk first, because that might be more important to explain a concept. because all we're dealing with here is a lot of concepts and a lot of application of those concepts from the Hebrew Bible. Okay, so let's see. In chapter 2 of the book of Habakkuk, it says in chapter 2 verse 2, "And Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that reads it." Okay, so I'll stop there. And then I'll go to the next verse, which is relevant to the previous. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it delay, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay." Now, when I taught you the method, you see, you might be thinking that, Rabbi Simon is coming out with gibberish or mumbo jumbo or things that, we don't know where he's finding them and blah, blah, blah. People tend to have these kind of mentalities out there. But what I come out with is from de facto our books. And so I think it's very important to understand that I start explaining a few of the concepts, because they will help you in the long term. Surely they will help you. Now, when I told you to get up in the morning, 5 o'clock, and write, this is where it comes out of, the book of Habakkuk. Because if you don't write what you want, you do not get it. Let me repeat that again. If you do not write what you want, you will never get it. Let me reinforce that a little bit. So, Yahweh through his prophet Habakkuk is saying, write your vision. Write it down. It may delay a little, but it will surely come to pass. That is where the 5 a.m. writings come from. When do you write your vision? Why at 5 o'clock? That's another whole chapter to explain, but I'm not going to go into that explanation. There is a fair recommendation for that, again, from the book of Proverbs and from the Torah itself. Again, I'm not going to open those up, because we're going to get into a whole different world when I start opening up the Torah passages and the book of Proverbs. There's a lot there. In short, I've given you succinctly something from the scriptures that I've been teaching you for numerous times. I don't know how many of you have applied it, but I think that you need to take these things very seriously. Now, because if you write your vision, like, what might be a vision? Right, yes, Eddie, that's correct. There's a lot in the Psalms as well. So, what might be a vision in your life? Everybody's vision will be different. No two people's vision will be the same. One person might say, I want to drive a green color car. Another one might say, I want to drive a white color car. One might say, I want to have a Ford truck. Another one might say, I want to have a Chrysler. And third person might say, I want to have something else. If two people are seeking to live in a property, in a house, one might say, I no longer want to live in rent. I want to own my own house. One might say, I want a 3-bedroom. One might say, I want a 4-bedroom, or etc. And on it goes. In other words, no two people's vision will ever be the same. But you shall write your vision down. This is an instruction from the God of Israel. And I have passed it down to you faithfully. Now, question is, are you doing it, or are you just listening from one ear and dropping it out the other? So, now there were people who asked me, they said, it is difficult for us to do it at dawn, maybe because some people work during that time, or maybe some people find it difficult to get up. I appreciate that, I understand that. And for that, there was 2 different ways. One was that you write it when you get up, whether that's, if not at dawn, later. Second was that if you're working shifts, you write it in the evening. In other words, when your shift finishes, you come home, first thing you do is write it down. So that was very important. So therefore, write your vision down. The book of Proverbs says that those people that do not, nations, it not just talks about people, it talks about nations. Nations that do not have a wisdom perish. Let me give you a classical example of a nation that perished, that had no vision. And I see it so clearly, and you will see it with me. The Red Indians in America, where are they today? Can anybody tell me where the Red Indians are that actually, from what I know of history, owned this land? Nowhere to be seen. I go through Ohio, I go through Florida, I go through Texas. I don't see any Red Indians. Do you see any Red Indians with their feathers all on themselves? I don't see them. Where is that nation gone? It perished. You might find a little hold up, a reservation somewhere where, there might be, 30, 40, 50 of them holed up in a reservation. Maybe you find that. But, I hardly see a Red Indian in town. Wherever I go, I hardly see them. So, where are they? They disappeared. Why did they disappear? They had no vision. The Red Indians, they used to be here in this nation, riding around in their beautiful horses. They were, lighting their fires. But they were, some of them were on cannabis and other things. And what happened is that their leaders, they had no vision. So guess what happened? Europeans came to this nation. Of course, starting with the Jewish people, the Marano Jews that came from Spanish Empire, Columbus and their company. They came here, they knew how to navigate the seas. They established that there is a nation, this is a nation called America, and they even went to Africa as well. And so then after that, other Europeans started to come down. As you know, the history of England, the history, I know a lot of the history of the people from Plymouth, the Brethren, and other people that came, the Christian communities that came from England, that were not so happy with the British Empire. They were not so happy with the king, so they decided to go to another land. And a lot of people from Ireland came over, and they set up shop over here, businesses. And before you know it, as these people came over, you know what? Where did the Indians go? They die a death. They all died a death. They're all removed from their lands. Now, we can sit here and cry, oh, poor Indians, they've been removed and all that. We can decry them, but really, what was the fault? The fault line wasn't that the Europeans came over and took over. The fault line was that they had no vision. And so, if you don't have a vision, yes, you can, you can write it when you awake. Not a problem. So if you have a vision, that means you have a destiny to reach. It's very important that you, first of all of you need to decide, what is my destiny? 23 years ago, let me tell you my story. 23 years old, maybe even 25 years ago. 25 years ago, I asked myself that same question. What am I going to do? What is my destiny? And I didn't know what my destiny was. I didn't have no idea, 25, 30 years ago. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I don't know who's going to guide me. And nobody seems to know what is the best thing to do. And, it was not yet the age of the computers. Computers had just started coming online. Internet was very, very new in those days. It was hardly what we know today as the, singing and dancing internet. It was text-based internet. So at that time, I just looked up into the sky and I said, guide me, God, what do I need to do? I'm not sure what I need to do. And then what was put into my mind was IT. And IT was very new in those days, 20, 30 years ago, about 30 years ago, IT was hardly anybody went into IT. Most people were doing, the traditional route of doctors, lawyers, and those seemed to be the going professions, and business information. Business seemed to be a lot economics and stuff like that. A lot of people were enrolling into university for those things. So when IT came, I enrolled into IT. I started to study IT, and I thought, well, I've been given IT by God. That's what I'm going to do. And so I made my mark in IT, and I started to write my vision down. I started to write a vision down. I started to put down a year, like 1991. This year I'm going to have 10 goals. My goal is to pass this exam. My goal is to get myself a place to live. My goal is to get myself a car. Whatever it was, I wrote my 10 goals down. And I just numbered them 1 to 10. And I just put them up on my bedroom door. And every day I would wake up, first thing I would do is I would look at my bedroom door and I would read my goals. I would, eyeball them. I would read them. And because I knew what I needed to do. And so from there, that was my vision. I started to write down my vision. And slowly and surely, although I didn't have all the methods I have today I have very powerful methods. But in those days, I wasn't all that clued up about things. And I just did it on the very basic level. And I even did the goals in future tense, not in present tense. So these are the things I didn't know about back then. But slowly and surely, it took time, but they started to come into my life. And as soon as one goal happened, I was like, tick that one, added a new goal, and I was like, great, this one come to pass, now the next one. And then the next one, and then the next one. Every goal I had written on that list came to pass. Because I had a vision. And my vision said that I'm going to be from A to B at a certain point in my life. I didn't know when exactly. I didn't have a timeline, because even in the Bible it says there's a delay. But it will surely come to pass. So you got to persevere. The good thing that I did, when I was about 19, 20 years old, what I did good was that I went to study Taekwondo. And when I started studying Taekwondo, that gave me the discipline, perseverance, indomitable spirit to persevere with something. I didn't give up. I learned never to give up in the face of adversity. So I credit my discipline to Taekwondo, and then I joined the British Forces Reserves. So those are the two things I credit my disciplinary, life to, because I spent about 3 years with the armed forces. I was in the Royal Green Jackets, 4th Battalion, and I was studying with them, I was training with them, and then I was doing Taekwondo, and I did Taekwondo for many, many years of my life, and that really molded me. It was really molding me as a person, and that's what really drove me as a perseverance, because I find many people give up. They give up after, they do it for 3 weeks, and they want results on the 4th week, and nothing happens, and they're like, well, it's not going to work for me, and they give up. So they walk away. And then it's the next thing, then it's the next, and nothing ever changes in their life, because they don't persevere. So in these things, it is very important to persevere. If you do not persevere, you do not get. And the vision must be, it will come to pass if you write it in future tense, like I did. I said, I will have a house, a 3-bedroom house. I will have a BMW car. That's how I wrote my goals. But that was then, when I didn't know how to write my goals properly. But when I learned, it was not I will have it, but I am driving my new car. I am, living in my new 3-bedroom house. But like I said, these things took, trial and error, learning and relearning and application. So I came through fire by trial. So I'm not teaching you something that I read in a book, because I did it by trial and by error, and I found what was the best way it worked for me. And I then taught this technique to other people of how best they will work for them. And later I came to the Bible, and I learned these things in the Bible as well. And so therefore, you see, a lot of the Bible doesn't explain everything, but it is there. So you have to piece it together and understand it, how it works. A lot of the people out there, law of attraction teachers, they'll throw a verse over here and they'll throw a verse over there, but they don't ever explain it to you what it actually means, because they are applying it in a scientific kind of fashion, and I'm afraid that it doesn't always work scientifically. It doesn't work like that. And so when I go to ask people, well, what are you doing? How are you applying something? How is it, transpiring in your life? And I find that 9 times out of 10, people are burning themselves out. They're overdoing it, or they are not doing it correctly. So this was the vision bit from the book of Habakkuk. Let me take you to the book of Isaiah next, so we can have a little perusal at Isaiah chapter 55. And it's always good that when you're listening to me, that you open your Bibles as well, because as I used to many years ago, I attended some churches as well, and I always took my Bible with me, and I always used to open my Bible. When the pastor said, hey, open the Bible, I would open my Bible and see what the pastor is reading. So it's always a good idea that when you come on the Shabbat sessions, that you have your Bibles with you, and you open your Bibles and you mark them, because it's always important to mark. I used to mark my Bible, and I still do, with pen in the white spaces. So it's important teaching, and I don't forget it, and I remember it. So very important to do that is to document everything. See, this is another thing. I will always encourage you to have a document with you, which you document everything with that document. And if you don't, then how do you know what your progress is? How do you know where you are? How do you know if you were successful or failure? You will never know that. So hence why I always say to people, document everything. It is so critical to document what you do. Document your goals. Document which one came to fulfill. Document the dates. Document what you did with burning the bay leaf. Document when you burnt it. Document why you burnt it. Document if it came to pass. These are important matters of administration that help you to systematically know that when something was done, what was the effect, what was the end result, does it need to be improved, or are you happy with the end result? So, having said that, coming to Isaiah chapter 55, it goes as follows. O everyone that thirsts, come to the waters, and he that has no money, come and buy and eat. Yes, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Therefore do you spend money for that which is not lachem, bread, and your labor for that which satisfies not? Hearken diligently to me, and eat you that which is good, and let your soul delight in itself in fatness. There you have it right there. I didn't write this. I didn't conjure this up. I didn't make it up. God tells you directly that you can have everything free. Not a penny has to be spent. You can have all the milk in the world, meaning you can have all the goods and luxuries in the world you want. All you got to do is use your imagination. It's right there. It's right there for people to see. I didn't write this Bible down. I didn't create it. I wasn't the prophet Isaiah. I'm only reading what he wrote down. And he already put it down very succinctly that it is yours for the taking. Are you willing to take it? So, again, it said that you don't need no money. You see, some people might think, hey, how am I going to get that car? I don't have the money. Well, God will supply the money. You see, you must follow the instructions. There was a lady in the East, and I said to the lady, she wanted to do some course, and I said to the lady, write it down. And she said to me, what do you want me to write down? And I said, write down that I am studying that course. Right? I'm studying that course. Write it down 10 times a day. And she was a little despondent, little upset with me, and then said to me, she actually said to me, she said, I'm a little upset. I said, why? She said, instead of praying for me, you're telling me to write it down. and I laughed. And I said to her, lady, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're talking to the Kohen in the gate. I said, if I say something and God will bring it to pass in your life, then what good is it if you have not participated with me? So she's like, okay. I said, I told you to participate with me. I could do it by one word. I could pray to God and I could bring it to pass in your life. Next week I could make it happen. But why should I do that? Why don't you put some effort with me? Why don't you put some effort? And of course I'm going to do my thing in the background. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. But I said, if you don't put your effort, why should I just give it to you on a plate? What good would that be? Then next time something happens, you'll come to me again. Kohen, give it to me again. Then again, give it to me free. Give it to me free. I said, this is misguided attitude. And that's what I don't like about people, is that I am teaching you a method that where God can assist you directly, and if you fail, then you come to me and say, it's not working for me. What am I doing wrong? Then I can help you. See, I then explained to her that she needed to write it down. She's like, okay, how do I write it down? I explained to her exactly in her language. I put it, I took Google, I translated the verses, and I gave it to her exactly in her language. This is how you need to write it down in the present tense. She said, okay, I'll write it down. For 3 days or 4 days, maybe even 5 days, I followed her through. I said, did you write it down? Yes. Next day, did you write it down? Yes. The next, did you write it? Yes. Good. Keep writing it. And then what happened? The following week, she was, she went to the place where she wanted to study, and she had a chat with the people over there. She came back, and maybe approximately 10 days later, or maybe slightly less, she is now on that course. By the way, she is doing that course. So I told her. Then she came to me, and you know what she said to me? "You've changed my life. You taught me something that I never knew could happen." And she said, I'm out of a very poor family, and I would never be at this place today had you not guided me and helped me. So it's not always, sometimes I have to directly intervene. Sometimes I have to directly intervene for you as my family, as the awesome tribes of Israel, and directly stand in prayer for you. Sometimes I have to do that. Other times I can give you guidance that you may do it for yourself and get on with your life. So it's very important to understand that. Now, I have given you a method in different ways, but what I have found is that sometimes people get overwhelmed with different goals. Like, if you have 10 different goals or 15 goals, maybe even 20 goals. Some people have 100 goals. So if you have maybe 15 goals, you might get a little bit overwhelmed by that. You might think, well, I've got 15 goals and it's a lot, how am I going to bring all these to pass? And so you think, well, how do I visualize? Which one do I do first? Which one do I do next, etc. So in the end, what happens is that what you must understand is that I normally recommend to people that you do it in pairs, 2 goals at a time, then the next 2, then the next 2, etc. So that you don't get overwhelmed and you don't get burned out. Because if you daily imagine something, like the one, let's say you have 2 goals, and you daily imagine it for a whole month, you might get burnt out by the end of the month. You might be like, nothing is happening, and I'm getting burned up, and I'm getting headaches, maybe I'm getting, I don't know, amnesia. Maybe you're getting uptight, maybe you're getting tension. These things can happen. So the best thing to do is, I say to people, okay, let me tell you something surefire that works. Like I said, there's different permutations of it, different ways to bring it to pass. One good permutation is this, that you take your top goal. So remember, I always speak about the top 1 or the top 3 goals. You take the top number 1 goal. Everything flows off of that number 1 goal. And that could be financial related, it could be home related, it could be a relationship. So in my life, my top goal, by the way, is not money. My top goal is relationship based. So my financial goal actually comes on number 3 or number 4 on the list. So having said that, relationships matter. So in your life, if you had a financial goal, let's say your financial goal, top goal was to drive let's pick a car out there. Let's just say that your top goal was to drive a Chevy truck. That was your top goal, that you drive a Chevy truck. And you write that down, that I am so happy and grateful now that I'm driving my new Chevy truck. Okay, full stop. That's 1 line of text. So when you write that goal down, now of course you haven't put down the color of that truck, you haven't put down the model of that truck. They are not really as relevant, because you can just go to a garage and choose the color and choose the model, no problem. So, but what you have put is the most important element, that you want a Chevy truck. Great. You want a new truck. Great. Okay, perfect. Now what you do is, the fastest way to bring this to pass, you see, one way is that you'll be visualizing it every day. In the daytime perhaps, you're visualizing it the whole month, and then you're waiting for things to take effect. The best way to bring this goal to pass is to sleep on it. And how you do that is, you would take this 1 goal, which is your top goal at this moment in time, that you wish to have a Chevy truck, and you sleep on it. In other words, you go to bed at night In your butt, make yourself comfortable, and you start to imagine this Chevy truck goal when you're sleeping. And when you're sleeping on it, and you imagine this goal, and you fall asleep, that is what will impress on your mind, your subconscious mind. So every night when you go to bed, you impress that seed into your subconscious. Just that one seed. And when you impress that one seed, and you will find that that will be the most powerful time for your goal to become a realization, because you're impressing it on your mind at bedtime. But there are some do's and there are some don'ts that you must never do. Number one, never go to bed after having a fight. If you fought with your spouse, you're angry, never go to bed with anger in your head, because you will destroy your goals when you do that. Never go to bed with negativity. Never go to bed after watching a horror movie or something. Don't watch horror movies, but some people still want to watch horror movies even if you tell them. If you do, then leave yourself a gap. Don't go straight to bed after watching a horror movie, because that's what's impressing on your mind right at that point. And you're going to hinder your goals. So my advice is to avoid movies that are, a lot of bloodshed, a lot of negativity, drama, and those kind of things. Completely avoid those. If you like to watch a movie, and I do, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you do too, is a lot of the movies that I like to watch are based on true stories, like what actually happened, events in the past. And sometimes, might be biographies. I like biographies as well. So my suggestion to you is to watch biographies of rich people, very rich people, at night, especially 30 minutes before bedtime. You should watch real rich people biographies. The internet is full of them. You could go to YouTube and type, the richest people in the world, and you're going to get, thousands of hits. So pick one and start looking at the biographies. That is the information you're impressing on your mind at night, just before you go to bed. And something that inspires you. Maybe for some people, maybe a cartoon might inspire them. Maybe some jokes might inspire them. But try to put wealth, because we are dealing with wealth over here. Chevy doesn't come for $10. It costs about $40,000 to go buy a Chevy. So you have to put wealth in your mindset. That's where you need to be. You don't need to be in the land of depression. Because remember what Habakkuk said, write your vision. Well, what is my vision? My vision is to have a Chevy truck. Then write it. And then receive it. And wait on it. So you sleep on it. So every night when you sleep on that Chevy truck, and you take good thoughts with you, thoughts of money, thoughts of wealth, thoughts of rich people who done well, Bill Gates maybe our president, who's done well in business, maybe other people in the world, whoever, it doesn't matter. Remember, you always need to be in a neutral state. I find America is full of, hateful people, hating the Democrat Party, hating the Liberal Party, the Republican Party. There's too much of that crap going on in America. You need to come out of it. You need to be on a neutral point. And you need to stop this, nonsense of, the Republicans are better than the Democrats, and the Democrats are better than the Republicans. This is nonsensical. This needs not happen, because this is politics. Leave politics alone. Let politicians do their politics. And they're all liars, by the way. All politicians are liars. So don't, think for a second that they tell you something of truth. They all shake hands behind your backs, and they're all having nice dinners, and they're, happy clappy between themselves. But they tell you that, this party is no good, and that man's no good, and this woman is terrible. See, this is all politician stuff. So you need to be neutral. You can look at the politics, you can look at what's going on, look at what's happening to the country, but stay neutral. You do not need to be on one side or the other. What I'm finding over here in America is majority of the public is divided. Either they are for Democrats or they are against Democrats. They are either for the Republicans or they are against the Republicans. You do not want to be there. That is a terrible, terrible way of looking at politics. And we do not have that, by the way. In England, where I come from, we don't have that mentality in British politics. British politics, I like the British ladies, the girls over there. You speak to them and you ask them, the men and the women. You say, well, what do you think? They say, it's all a lot of bullshit. They'll say it like that. Exactly, it's all bullshit. It's all rubbish. We don't follow politics. Most of the British people, they speak like that. They'll tell you we don't follow politics, and rightfully so, because they already know, they're already educated enough to know that politics is just that. It's a lot of BS. There's not a lot of truth in there, and politicians are out for themselves, or they have their own little agendas going on. So it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, politicians don't put food on your table. Ask yourself that question. Does a politician put food on your table? If it doesn't, why are you wasting your time with that politician? So be neutral, and so write out your goal that you desire and work on your goal. That's your life. Your life is your desire. Your life is what you do. Your life is what you do for your family. That's where you need to be. You don't need to be, criticizing the President of the United States or arguing about, who should be the next leader. That's not a place where we need to be. It's not our place. Let those people who are politicians, let them do their politics. And that's what they do. That's what they're good at. That's what they get paid. So I'm not going to waste my whole day arguing about who is a better politician than not. So therefore, I'm very simple, and my guidance to you is very simple. Look at what benefits you. Seek, because this is what the Bible says as well. Seek God while is near. Seek God while is near, because it may be too late afterwards. Eddie is saying, Rabbi, what is the best way to respond to troubling memories or traumas from a long time ago at night, when it usually comes with a reflection, even if you're neutral and forgive it? Very good question, because there will be events in your life such as troubling memories and traumas. You got to tag it. Let me show you how to tag something. When a memory comes, like, I don't know, maybe, a man and a woman who were married, they were divorced, and they have a bad memory of a divorce, how bad it was, and how, argumentative they became, and how they hated each other. So that could be a memory. Every time that memory comes, you tag it. How do you tag it? You say, hey, this is only a memory. That's not me. That's something that happened in the past. Let it go. It's not important. So you tag your memories like that. So, like, maybe your mom died, and you felt terrible that mom died, parents died, and you're holding that as a memory. You tag it. It's only a memory. My mom is fine. My mom come back. Because I was speaking to somebody outside, and the person said to me, I feel terrible. And I said, what happened? He said, my best friend died. He was coming from North Carolina, and he died along the way. He had a heart attack, massive heart attack. He ran into a semi, and he was killed outright. He died. And he says, I feel so bad. He goes, I'm in Ohio, and I can't even go to him because he's in North Carolina. And he said that, I feel so bad about my friend. And I said to him, this guy is 71 years old. He told me his age is 71. I said, take heart. I said to this man, take heart. Do not worry about it. I said, you're forgetting that your friend, he lived a beautiful life. Be thankful he lived a beautiful life. And I said, he's going to come back. I said, he's not going to just stay up there. He said, God is sending him back to the next life. So look forward to him coming back into a new life, into a new body, and a new start. So he said, oh yeah. He said, yeah, that's true. He's going to come back. So he was all happy about it. I could have been the stupid Christian dogma, Oh, he's going to hell. Was he saved by Jesus? Oh, he wasn't saved, so he's going to hell. Poor. Let's pray for him. So you could do it like that and make somebody so upset about it. So death is not the end. Death is the beginning, because when you die, God is going to recycle your soul. He's going to resend your soul back. Because if your mission is not complete, you're going to come back, and you're going to start another new life. You're going to be in another baby's body, and you're going to have a brand new life to start. So it's no problem. So never worry about death. So having said that, that man had a little smile on his face. He was really feeling bad about it. But if I did this Christian mumbo jumbo, guess what he would have felt like? My friend is going to hell. My friend wasn't saved in Jesus. Blah blah blah. And guess what? he would be feeling even more terrible. So I'm not going to do that to somebody. I'm not going to put them in a state of despair and nonsense that I know is not true. So therefore, this is basically where we are. And let me come back to Isaiah. In the book of Isaiah it says, "Seek you Yahweh," or "Seek you the Lord while he may be found, call you upon him while he is near." So you have the imagination. God lives within you. The Word of God, who we know as Jesus, Yeshua of Nazareth. The Word of God is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. You got to start utilizing it. You've got to start utilizing it. Because if you don't, you're only doing a disservice to yourself. You're creating, you see, like Eddie said, what do we do with thoughts? You see, bad thoughts, if you allow those traumatic memories, they start creating bad stuff. And then you so, enveloped in them that you start creating bad things. So every time a bad thought comes, tell yourself, this is only a memory. This is not me. I am not that memory. This is a memory from the past. Tag it. Only memory. Every memory that comes that is bad, tag it as only memory. Not me. This is not me. I am not that person. So every time you do that, that memory will have zero effect on you. It will not be able to put you down. It will not be able to, make you feel bad. Because when you tell yourself, I am not that person, so it's a memory, let it go. So tag every memory that comes to you like that, and you'll be fine. So therefore, it is very important, like I said, sleep on your top goal at night. Sleep on it for about 3 weeks. Then give yourself a week's rest. Maybe even 10 to 14 days of rest. And yes, because Eddie, very good question. Your question, I'll repeat it to the people so they understand what we're talking about. What does it mean in Isaiah 55 that he reminds Israel that Yahweh gave them David as a witness and his sure mercies? Okay, David, by the way, at the time of Isaiah was no more. He was, about gone. So, but there was a witness of David. David simply means the beloved of God. So when God says, I gave you David as a witness, who is David? You are David, Eddie. All of you are David. Why? Because you are beloved. I am David because I am beloved of God. All of us, Israel, are David. Why? Because we are beloved of God. Because remember what God calls Israel, my beloved people. So David must be taken as a synonym to mean beloved, not necessarily the King David. So we understand that it means that we are beloved of God. And what is the witness? Well, just as God was God loved David, he loves you. That is the witness. So therefore, you are going to call on God within yourself, and you're going to use, God's going to allow you to be, allow God to be used to produce, to manifest the desires of your life. That's all it basically means. So in this context, we got to understand that when you sleep on it for 3 weeks, like I said, you sleep on it for 3 weeks and then you relax. Relax for about 7 to 10 days. Don't burn yourself out, because you got to completely detach from that top goal. You can't be continuously attached to it. 3 weeks is more than enough time for you to have sown the seed, planted it, done your visualization, watered it, and now it's settled. Once it's settled, you can put it to one side and relax, and then you can go on to your next goal. In other words, you could rotate it on 3 weeks basis. So that's another way to do it. And then in the daytime, you could add to that, in the first 3 weeks, you could say, daytime, you're going to visualize it maybe once, twice a day, and then you're going to leave it. And you're going to do that for about 3 weeks proximate, give and take, and then you're going to drop it, then you're going to stop it, then you're going to let it take effect. Now you move on to your goal number 2, then goal number 3, like that. So you see, you're constantly working something, but you're not working on just one item. Now you got chance to work, like I said, if you work on 2 items in the daytime, or 3 items, then you can work those, maybe in a 3-day period. You can do 3 days for one, then 3 days for another, then 3 days, then 3 days, like that. Important to work it like that. So, but the fastest method, the fastest way to bring something to pass is to sleep on it, and then to wake up. And this is my personal testimony, is that the first thing I do, I don't care, I don't run to the bathroom to pee or to wash my face or to brush my teeth. The first thing I do when I get up, I bow before Yahweh. The first thing I do, even if I'm half asleep, after I do my little meditation session and I come away from the meditation, I come off my bed, I'm onto my mat and I'm before Yahweh. First thing I do that. Learn to seek God first. I seek God first and I give Him thanks first before I go to the bathroom. I find most people, they're running off to the bathroom. They want to do either brush first, they want to shave, they want to do whatever they need to do. They want to tidy up before they come to God. No, I don't tidy up. I come before God just as I am, untidy. I put my tallit on and I'm untidy before God. I want Him to see me just as I am. So I need Him to know that I'm here for you. I'm here for you exactly as I am. I will do my brushing and everything up, all my beautification I will do afterwards. But I will first seek the Lord, the God of Israel. I'll seek Him first. Make that a habit. It is a great habit and it will get you great places. So having said that, it is very important that what we learn from the prophets is that that's what we do. Now coming back to the Parsha, in the Abrahamic Faith, Nazarene Hebraic Study Scriptures. If we come back, and one of the things that I noticed here was I was reading the Parsha in chapter 30 of the book of Numbers, and it was verse 8. And it said, and they slew, this is talking about Israel that had war with the Midianites. It says, and they warred against the Midianites, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and they slew all the males, and they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hor, and Rivah, 5 kings of Midian. Bilam also the son of Beor they slew with the sword. Now here, and if you can read between the lines, you see Balaam or Balaam at this time had become friends with the Arab kings. He was now dancing around with the Arab kings, taking money from them and trying to cast spells on Israel. So what happens is, not only did Israelites slay the Midianite kings, the Arab kings, but they also killed Balaam and put an end to him as well. Because it says in verse 9, and the children of Israel took all the women of Midian's captive and their little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle and all their flocks and all their goods, and they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire, and they took all the spoil and all the prey, both of men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil to Moshe and Eleazar the Kohen, and to the congregation of the children of Israel, to the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by Jordan near Jericho. And Moshe and Eleazar the Kohen and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them outside the camp. See here, notice another very important correlation what happened here. When they won the victory, the first person they come back to is the Levites. They come back to the Kohen, the Kohanim. The Kohen at the gate is Eleazar, and Moses is the man who is in charge of all of Israel. And he's a type of king. And so these people come back to their king and they come back to their Kohen at the gate. And it says Moshe was very angry with the officers of the host, officers of the army, with the captains over thousands and captains over hundreds which came from the battle. And Moshe said to them, have you rescued all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam. See what Balaam was doing? Balaam was causing the women to entice the children of Israel to trespass, violate God's holy laws. In the matter of Peor, you see that Peor, that was remember the date he had spoke about, that was by the seas. Peor, where they were telling Israelites to put your pants down and to start, defecating backwards, facing away from Peor, and somehow there was some kind of benefit in that. So that's what they were doing. So Moses was extremely angry with the captains of the host that the instruction was to kill every male, and of course, it says that now therefore kill every male among the little ones and kill every woman that has known man by lying with him. So there was a reason for that. The reason was given that these women are going to cause Israelites to go astray, because they're going to cause them to worship in a very wrong manner. Now, today if we look at this and we're like all aghast, hey, they killed all the males and all the women as well. But the thing is this, that there is two parts to that. Number one part is that it's literal. Second part, it's psychological as well. It's both. So therefore, the first part is that God does not kill people because he liked killing people. These are God's children as well. These people, these men and women are also that God created. So you see, to you death might be the end, but to God it's the beginning. So when God has them removed, He sends them back. He doesn't just hold them in the graveyard. He sends these souls back into new bodies, and they become people again. So therefore it's not a big deal to God for them to be dead and resent back as babies again. But what God did not want is these women to entice His chosen nation, that they may go astray. Because if they go astray, well, guess, we were supposed to be a light to the world. How are we going to be a light to the world if we are sitting with our pants down, defecating to some idol? I don't know how we're going to be a light to the world at that point. So we just might as well just give up. So this is a kind of idolatry that was taking place, gross idolatry, that wasn't acceptable to the God we served. It wasn't acceptable to the way we were taught to serve God. Hence why all these males had to be removed, and the women, because remember, if the women it said women that had were lying with men. In other words, women who were married, with men, they were also killed. Why? Because if one person was born, and we have a history of that, by the way. If one child was born male, he could say, I'm going to take revenge on my people, that these other guys killed. I'm going to go after Israel and I'll start killing their males and their females because they killed my forefathers. It's issue of revenge. And we know the king of Agag, if you remember, he came out of one woman that was let go, and King Saul was responsible for that. So therefore that King Agag that was allowed to escape, and then at one time in history in the Persian Empire, all of our people would have been killed because of that one mistake that King Saul made. Hence why God did not permit the males and the women who had slept with males to go alive, because the seed they would produce, the offspring they would produce, would be a type of revenge, ready for revenge offspring. So God wanted to prevent further problems down the line. Hence why they were instructed to put them to death. And so God had good reason for that, because God is their creator, and God can, refashion them as a potter and send them back into new life again. So it's no problem for God to do that. Hence why the instruction was for them to be put away. And so we see that it says, verse 19, and you abide outside the camp 7 days. Whosoever has killed any person, and whosoever has touched any slain, purifies both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and purify all your raiment, and all that is made of skins, and all work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood. And Eleazar the Kohen said to the men of war which went to battle, this is the ordinance of Torah which Yahweh commanded Moshe. Only the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that may abide the fire, you shall make it go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the mine of separation, and all that abides not the fire you shall make go through the mine. And you shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and you shall be clean, and after you shall come into the camp. Now, the Kohanim made the people go through a purification process on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, almost like you're going through a graveyard. Read the process is very similar. Why? Because the people had shed blood. Now they had blood guilt, kind of blood guilt. So number one, they had to be respectful to the people they had killed. They were not allowed to come in the camp until they were purified for 7 days. Number two, there were certain offerings given. At that point, you might call them shalom offerings or restitution offerings, even guilt offerings. And so these were given to pacify things in the air, because when blood is shed on the ground, it does cause trauma to the very people who shed the blood as well. It's not just the person who's killed. The one who's done the fighting and killing, he also comes away with trauma. As you know, a lot of the soldiers that go into war, they come back with traumatic experiences because they had shot people, they may have accidentally shot women, may have accidentally shot children, and they walk away with real traumatic memories. A lot of movies made on that. They get PTSD, they get all sorts of trauma, and then they're put on all sorts of drugs. See, because they haven't gone through the process of cleanse. They haven't gone through the process of cleanse, therefore they have problems. Oh yeah, that's right, Daniel, because as I said that, you were saying that a few years ago I said that today's military suffer due to killing in war. Absolutely, they do suffer. A lot of the soldiers I know in military who are fighting in Gulf War, who fought in the Gulf Wars, the 2 Gulf Wars we had, the Afghanistan wars we had, a lot of them are suffering today. And they are put on real, hard medicines, these drugs which are psychotropic drugs, because they're getting hallucinations. And they're getting all sorts of problems. The reason why these problems are happening, because number one, they haven't done a guilt offering. They don't even know what the heck is a guilt offering, because they shed blood. Number two, there's no cleanse. So these people need to go through a cleanse. That 7 days cleanse, they haven't done it. The guilt offerings, they haven't done it. You remember when Abraham went to war? He went to war with the kings, and his nephew was taken. And it says that when Abraham came back, he gave guilt offerings. And it was Shem who was a Kohen in the gate at that time, and Shem was taking the offerings. So Shem was doing the prayer on his behalf and the offerings. So therefore, that is not just by the by. That's actually a principle in the Torah, that you have to do that. And you might say, well, how do we do it today? Because we don't have a temple. Well, there's always the equivalent. There's always a Kohen in the gate. There always was, and there always will be. There always will be a Kohen in the gate that you will have access to as Israel. And you can go to that Kohen with guilt offerings in equivalent value of what the Torah commands. And you can remove guilt from yourselves by following the Kohen's instructions. So that's another topic altogether. But having said that, it is still possible. So my point, coming back to our goals and desires, as I reiterate, those of you, do not get disheartened. Do not be disheartened that something you've been practicing for the last 2 months, 3 months hasn't taken place. What you need to do is put it into effect, like I told you. Take your top goal, whether it's financial, whether it's relational, whether it's physical, and put it through your sleep pattern. And put it through your sleep pattern. Then in the daytime, what you do in the daytime, you sit on your couch, or maybe you like to lie on your bed and make yourself comfortable and put yourself in a 50-50 sleep mode, half sleep, half awake. And then do your visualization technique. Feel the end result. And the end result will be whatever your desire is. If your desire is to live in a new house, then your end result is you're in that house. You are sitting in that house. Maybe you have family members in there. Maybe you're having conversation with family members and they are congratulating you and you are receiving the congratulations. You need to be at that point. That is the end point of the completion of that goal. If it's a car, then you are driving that car and you see a friend who's congratulating you for that car. That is the end goal of a car. And again, like I said, color is not important. You can just buy any color. Once God gives you the money, you can buy any color. And same with the house and with the relationship. Like if you are desiring marriage and you put a ring on your finger and you see that your wife is lying with you on the bed and you're telling her good night, or in the case of a husband, a woman seeking husband, She's telling her husband who's not there good night and wearing a kind of a wedding band as a sign of a wedding. That's the end result. So when you continue to do that, you are cementing that visualization, that vision. You're cementing the vision. The more you cement it, the faster it will come into your life. And the same with money goals. Money goals exactly the same. It's no different. So whatever money goals you desire, you got to do the exact same thing for money goals. Is what kind of money you're desiring, what kind of amount, and you see yourself receiving that amount, and you perhaps you're going to the bank, you're depositing the check, or the other way could be that you're asking the balance on your account, and the bank teller is telling you your balance is such and such, sir. So now this two-way conversation at the end is money in the bank, and whatever money that you're desiring is in the bank, and the conversation ensues, and the bank teller says you have X amount of money that you're actually desiring to see, whether that's a $10 million, whether that's $1 million, the amounts are not relevant. It takes the same amount of visualization, creation, to create $1 million, and the same amount to create $1 billion. So let me say that again. Same amount to take $1 million or $1 billion. The only trouble with $1 billion, it takes a long time for it to show up. So if you said, I want to have $1 million, or I want to have $10 million, it takes the same effort. The two do not require bigger effort. The effort is the same. So therefore, understand that a bigger amount doesn't require a bigger effort. That would be wrong. In the scheme of things, if you slept on it and you slept with the same effort, you would have the same amount in the bank. Eddie, you're saying that can we work on a short-term goal for 2 million and also work on a long-term goal for 1 billion? Absolutely you can, Eddie. Absolutely you can. You can work on a short-term goal for 2 million, and you can work on a long-term goal because you can have two separate affirmations. You can have one affirmation that says, I am a millionaire. And you can have an affirmation that says, I have $2 million balance in my account. And you can then see that visualization that you go to the branch and you ask the bank teller, and she tells you, yes sir, you have $2 million balance and some change. And as $1 billion, for the $1 billion it will take longer, because it could be a separate goal that I am a billionaire, and the separate goal will happen in stages because it will involve several businesses. So you got to allow that time, because that might be a 10-year goal. That might be a decade it takes to get to $1 billion. But a 2 million goal could happen under 6 months. So that's the difference between short-term and long-term goals. So definitely I would say is to separate your goals into two, short-term and long-term, and you will get it. I rest assured. I guarantee you that you will get it if you work on it. Sleep with if your goal is to get 2 million, sleep on it, that you have 2 million in the bank. Visualize before you go to bed, I have 2 million in the bank. You're going to the branch, your bank branch, you go to the bank teller, ma'am, what is my balance? She tells you, sir, you have $2 million and whatever, dollars in your branch, in your bank. What would you like me to do? Well, take some money out. Ma'am, can I take $1,000 out? Sure. She writes you, she counts $1,000 to you. You take it, and by the time you've done your $1,000 count, you've probably gone to bed, gone to sleep. Now you slept with that vision, with that seed that you planted in your head every night for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, relax, let it go. Stop thinking about it. And then that money will be provided by the universe from somewhere, wherever. The universe has a million ways to make provision. There are many ways to make that provision. Allow God to decide how that money comes into your life. You just simply said, I need to have 2 million. I don't care if it comes from you just suddenly discovered gold in the backyard of your yard, or, whether you won a lottery ticket, whether you did a scratcher, doesn't matter how. You're not worried about the little detail. All you're concerned about is, I have $2 million in my branch. And that's where you will be. That's where your end result is centered. So when you follow that through, you will produce that, Eddie, 100%. So with that in mind, I'm going to pass it over to Rabbi Kefa. Today for listening. Continue to persevere with your applications. Don't give up. And don't be disheartened. Things sometimes take a little time, and but they always will come to pass.
For your instruction, your guidance, your direction, so that we can go out and execute. If I can check out, I guess if I can be heard, can I get a one? Vive la France, dear Oliver, Shabbat Shalom to you over there, across the many ponds, and the rest of you, Mishpaha. I wish you all a wonderful Shabbat and a wonderful 6 days of labor ahead as we continue to press on for the mark. You know, press on for that higher mark. We're all trying to beat our marks, right? And it is wonderful, isn't it? It is wonderful as we go on. Now, what I want to do, I know we're coming into the end of the book of Numbers here. Our next parsha, we will be moving on to our next book within our Torah. So I think it's very, very prevalent that we discuss the journeys of Israel. Now, how many of you this day will say, raise your hand and say, I am on a journey? You'll say, Rabbi, I'm on a journey, Rabbi Kefa. I'm on this journey. And I appreciate Eddie's, I appreciate all your questions, and I would encourage all of you, if you do have questions, please reach out, ask these questions to the Kohen. Don't think any of your questions are like, you may think, oh, my question's not relevant, it's not important. Matter of fact, my question's kind of a dumb question. No, don't ever think that, because this is, again, your mind playing tricks on you, because the only dumb question is the question that you don't ask. Because, you know what, you'll be surprised at the folks that you minister to on YouTube. I'll give you a testimony about this week. You know, we had several folks coming to us that do listen in to the YouTube, you know, the teachings. They listen to the recordings. And, you know, you'd be surprised. And so they do listen in, and a lot of them through YouTube have come back to, you know, to the family. They have come home. And so a lot of them, you know, again, you don't rush anybody through the process, because, again, it's a journey. So don't be your responses about the journey factor, because I want you to all to understand this day that you are on a journey. Israel, family. Now, Eddie, I want to go back to you, because I really appreciate your questions, because what Eddie was doing was describing things that have gone on in his journey that happened in the past, right? Now, all of you, whether you want to or not, you always go back and reflect on your journey, don't you? Where you have been. Now, here's the thing. When you reflect back on where you have been, I mean, I want you to really assess yourselves. Do you reflect back on the good times or the bad times? Think about that for a minute. Where you have been, where you are moving on, you know, where you have moved on from in the past. I would guarantee you, the majority of the time, when you go back and you reflect on things, when you reflect on the things that have happened in your journeys, in your stations, in your locations in the past, a lot of times most folks only focus on the negative, the bad things, thus not making you happy, whole, and complete, because you always focus on those bad things when you go back and assess your journeys. And there's nothing wrong with you going back to and assess your journeys. I want to make that very crystal clear, because you went through those journeys for a reason. Some of you may say, oh, and let me give you an example of how it happens. You'll say, oh man, why did the Master Yahweh wait so long to bring me into this truth? How many of you ever said that? Why couldn't I come into this truth when I was earlier in my journey? You see, basically that's what you're saying. You're looking at your journey and seeing it as a negative factor, because, oh, why did it take so long for me to now get this truth at such and such age, or at such and such time in my life? You see? So the relevance and the importance is this. The relevance and the importance is this, is that you don't question the time factor, because time is now. But what you do need to do with your journey, can anybody tell me, what do you do with the journeys that you've already been on and the journey that you're on now? You utilize these journeys for this important point. And the master, and you know, I'm a segue off of that real quick and go to this, because some of you may say, listen via YouTube or listening live, you may say, well, why does the Kohen tell me to write it down? The Kohen gave you an example from our prophets on why you're to write it down, because it's in our history. But right now, I'm going to give you the example right from the Torah, right from this double portion that we're doing. Now, I want you to see this. Why does the Kohen tell us to write it down? Is it biblical from the Torah? Absolutely, it is biblical from the Torah. Now, look at Numbers chapter 33, verses 2. And Moshe and Moses and Musa wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of Yahweh. And these are the journeys according to their going out. According to their goings out. Because it was more than one going out. Do you see it? It's right there in your face. Why would the Master Yahweh tell Moses to write these journeys down? Why? Why is that relevant? Why is writing down so important? It's right there in your face. Right from our Torah. Write it down. Biblical from the Torah. You ought to write your journeys down. Don't forget about those things that happened in the past. And just like you're seeing, Ya'il, woman of the tent, these are learning tools, or I would like to sum it up as experience. How many of you have loads of experience right now? You say, Rabbi, Kefa, I have loads of experience. How many of you can say that right now? I have loads of experience. You need to see it that way, as experience. I'm experienced in this area. I'm experienced in that area. I tell you what, I'm highly experienced in relationships because I've been through a lot of them. That's how you need to see it. Right, Eddies? You already see it as, oh man, that was just such a bad time in my life. See, you're going back and you're reflecting on your journey in a negative way and not learning the lesson of the journey. You see, this is what you need to extrapolate from each one of your journeys. It's the positivity and all that negativity that's around it. And you think, well, what did I learn positive from that experience? You see? I think that's vital and very important. You see, because a lot of folks can't move on with the now is because they're too caught up in the past and all the negativity that is encircled around the past, because you can't break through those negative energies to see that there's positivity in there. I give thanks for the ex-wives in my life, because they all, made me and molded me to a better man. Not that I'm going to use the experiences to change, because a lot of folks, they use their past experience in relationships and say, oh, well, there's got to be something that I need to change in myself. When the majority of the time, and some of the time, I won't say the majority of the time, some of the time, there's nothing that you need to change. It's just that, you ran up on a person that, you see, don't allow a person to change you. If you're humble and meek in one relationship, go into the next relationship humble and meek. Don't say, oh, this woman has hardened me. Now I'm going to the next relationship hardcore. And I'm not going to budge. And I'm going to draw my lines in the sand, and that's it. When in the last relationship, you had flexibility. You showed compassion. You showed love. You will hear the other side. Just because the other side don't hear you back, that don't mean you go into the next relationship and say, well, just because of that past relationship and my past experience, I listened. Now I'm not going to listen this time. You see, you're totally missing it. You're totally missing the experience. And I would encourage you all to go through your journeys happy. Each journey, each experience, each learning, lesson learned, be happy about it. Don't sit there and go, oh, that's a sad time in my life. Can anybody tell me how many times the Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, how many times did he mention happy? Can anybody tell me? Did he even ever mention happy? Think about that for a minute. How many times did the Master Yeshua mention happy? Let me tell you. If we look at it according to the King Jimmy version of the Bible, he only mentions it one time. And I have that one time as I opened up my Abrahamic Faith Bible. That one time, and it's in the book of John. John chapter 13. John chapter 13, look at verse 17. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. What are these things that he's talking about? If you go back and we look at verse 16, talk about, very well I said to you, the servant is not greater than his master. Neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. There's a lot to that, Miss Brown. That's a whole lecture on that in itself. And he's going back and giving the example. If you read this chapter, it's dealing with washing the feet. Washing the feet of his students. Look at verse 13. I find it very interesting. John 13 and 13. You call me Rabbi and Master, and you say, well, for so I am. My goodness. Keep that I am with you, because I am is I am. If I then, your master and rabbi, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. Wow. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Then he goes into verily, verily, I say to you, the servant is not greater than his master. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I've been here with the Kohen for a minute. I will tell you, he's had many students that have thought at one time or another that they're greater than their teacher. How many of you have witnessed that as well? I don't want to be the only one. Where's the witnesses and the watchers as well? That one time or another, one of our Kohen students has said, no, I'm greater than you are. I know better than you do, teacher, but you're my teacher. You're my teacher. How are you going to be? How am I going to ever be great? I will never be greater than my teacher. Never, never, never. It's not for the witnesses and the watchers that have seen that. That have been with the Kohen for a while as well. And you have seen it for yourself. That some people have that mentality. I was talking to my wife the other day. She said, well, one day you're going to be able to cook better than me, this Chinese food. I said, honey, I'll never be able to cook than you. Wash your feet. Wash your feet. Maybe I'll do a lecture on that one day. Wash your feet. Wash your feet. I'll never be able to cook better than you. You're my teacher. You're teaching me to cook these Chinese noodles. I will never. You see, that's the mentality that you need to have. Is that humbleness and that meekness. Is that your teacher is your teacher is your teacher is your teacher. You're never going to master your teacher, Miss Baha. That's wrong answer. That's wrong kind of attitude. And so when you can understand that, the more happier you'll be. Because it's not about a contest, Mr. Baha. It's just about compliance. It's not about a contest. I'm not trying to outdo Hakohi. I can never outdo. You would waste your life here on this earth trying to outdo your teacher. How many of you see Hakohi as your teacher? Simon Altaf, Hakohi. How many of you see him as your teacher? He's your teacher, he's your teacher, he's your teacher, he's your teacher, he's your teacher. You're not going to outdo him. The best thing that you can do, is fall in line with your teacher. Wash his feet, wash his feet, wash his feet, wash his feet. Because he's washing your feet. Teacher, master, and the colleague, the mentor. Father to some, father to all. I call him as father to many. I definitely see him as a father figure myself. I don't know about you, but I do. So how am I gonna outdo my father? I can never do that. Even the Master Yeshua said, I can never be greater than the one that sent me. That's the kind of mentality that you need to have going into perfect law and going back into your subconscious. You see, that breaks down these barriers of jealousy and warring and envy. Because listen, I'm never going to be greater than my teacher. I can never cook as good as my wife can cook, but I can learn to cook. She teaches me to cook Chinese food, but I can never cook as great as she can cook. Never. And I never want to. But I want to learn from her, and I want to do the best that I can do. And I want to please my wife because, I'm trying to cook exactly the way, she's cooking. And I'm doing the best that I can. And I want to please her. And I want to make her happy. I'm pressing on for that mark to please her, not to outdo my wife in Chinese cuisine. Because I'm not going to be able to do that. She's my teacher. And I humbly put myself in the place of a student, in the role of a student, thus raising me up to be to be greater than a student. Why? Because I keep myself low. Learn your place, Mishpah, you'll be happy. The only time that the Master Yeshua mentions happy. Happy is the man. My goodness, that's good stuff. That's great stuff. You see? If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. So when my wife is telling me to cook these noodles, I need to follow. She's going to be happy when my noodles come out just as she directed and instructed me to go through. And if I mess up, but I'm going to keep trying, and I'm never going to give up. I'm going to be persistent, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to keep trying to reach my pinnacle of perfection when it comes to making these noodles. She taught me last night how to make some beef bone noodles. Oh my goodness! I called you last night. I bite my fingers off. It was so good. I was like, wow, beef bone. How many of you know beef bone is very healthy for you? Beef bone. Of course, I'm using that pressure cooker I told you many years ago instructed me to use. Many years ago. And now my wife has been beneficial, has been a benefactor of that pressure cooker I told you many years later. He told me many years ago he came to my place. He said, hey, Kefa, you need to get a pressure cooker. Cook with a pressure cooker. Man, my wife is the benefactor of my Kohen's instructions that I followed out. I'm getting a pressure. How many of you have a pressure cooker in your house? If you don't have one, you've got to get a pressure cooker. I'm telling you. Man, we went got us some big old beef bone, threw it in a pressure cooker, made this, I'm telling you, just like awesome broth. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's just awesome. I'm telling you, I've never tasted noodles. And I consider myself a noodle connoisseur on some levels. Beef bone. Start cooking. I'm telling you, that's so healthy for you. It just energizes you. I ate them noodles, man. I believe I can fly. I think I was doing that last night around the garden. Man, I tell you what. I look forward to some beef broth noodles today for Shabbat as well. But I've been learning how to cook these noodles. Beef broth noodles. And who taught me? My teacher. My wife over here, my cook, said, thanks. Yeah, I did. I didn't know nothing about no pressure cooker until my teacher, I called gave it to my baby. Hey, Kefa, you got to get a pressure cooker. Speeds up the time, better cooking. It's all the ingredients in there. It just makes the meat fall off the bone, everything. I tell you, beef bone, soup, beef bone noodles. I tell you. Maybe some of you this week we can get some recipes going to y'all. And I encourage you to do so. Beef broth, make it a part of your tradition in your families to eat that. It's very healthy. Try to stay away from the restaurant version or the stuff that they have in the bottles. Like my teacher, my wife was telling me last night, make it yourself because they add a lot of things to it that may mess it up. You know, the only ingredient that my wife put in there was guess what? Ginger. She threw that beef and then with ginger, that's all she did. And then when it's finished, she threw a little she threw a little onions in there. Put some onions in there and let it simmer, let it marinate for a minute. My goodness. I'm going to say we should do a Passover at your event next time and have some noodles. Oh, indeed, I'm going to eat. That's going to be on the entree for sure, among some other things. Thank you to the universe. So I'm telling you, again, my Kohen instructed me many years ago, get a pressure cooker. And I did. And I tell you what, in all honesty, the pressure cooker it sat there. It marinated for a while because, yeah, when our Kohen would come, we would use it. But other than that, it would just sit there until it was time for that pressure cooker to shine. And when was that time? When the Aisha, when the wife came to America. She came to America from China. Woo-woo. She saw that pressure cooker her eyes lit up like like she just hit the lottery. She's like, oh, wow, I've never seen one like this. There wasn't in China not like this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wow, that pressure cooker made her so happy. And believe me, she uses it, if not every day, at least every week she uses that pressure cooker. And And she began to tell me how her mother used to, attempt to make these foods, and how she had to sit around using fire. And she had to sit there and watch it. And it took so long for her to prepare foods back in the day when she was a child. Because her mother just had to sit there and watch the fire. The pot would boil over and all this and blah, blah, blah. But she said, in China, when I saw this pressure cooker, I went out and I bought one for my mother, I bought one for myself. Now my mother can't put the pressure cooker down. She uses it for everything. I'm like, great. A doctor says, I'm going into the pressure cooker business. That wouldn't be a bad business to get into. I'm telling you, that would not be a bad business to get into. Thank you to the universe. That would not be a bad business to get into. I'm telling you, I'm a witness and a watcher of the awesome cooking. I thank the universe for that experience that I'm having with my wife, that journey that she takes me on my cooking journey on Chinese cuisine. I'm so happy. The Master Yeshua tells us, if you know these things, happy are you. Happy are you if you do them. Doing is so important. You see, Hakoi says, I've got to have at least 2 pressure cookers in the house always. Wow. I think the West is just now catching up and waking up to the pressure cookers. But in the East, I think that's like mainstay. UK, you guys probably, that's mainstay over in UK. In China, believe me, they're using them. My wife told me that she's a witness to that. They're using them in China like crazy. Nothing like it. Nothing like it, Miss Rahab. My grandmother, Creole woman from Louisiana, didn't know too much about pressure cookers. She didn't know about them. My father didn't know about pressure. They believe in cooking in the pot, cooking in the pot, cooking in the pot. How many of you in the West had that mentality? Cook with a pot, cook with a pot, cook with a pot. Put everything in the pot. Down in Louisiana, that's how they make gumbo. They just throw everything in the pot. All the leftovers that the slave master gave them, put it in the pot. Put it in the pot, cook it, boil it down, boil it. Tar says, I grew up with pressure cooking. That's great. Pressure cooking, I'll tell you, that's some good cooking. That is some good cooking. Good cooking. Now, I tell you what I did grow up with. I grew up with the crock pot. I grew up with that. But I saw that crock pot, and I was like, no, Kefa. We had to kick it up a few notches here and get a pressure cooker. Crock pot is good, but it's slow. But I always had the mentality of low and slow, low and slow, low and slow. Pressure cooker. That's crock pot cooking right there. Low and slow. You set it and you can forget about it. But my goodness, pressure cooker takes it to a whole new level. And I learned that from my teacher. She will always, when it comes to Chinese cuisine, my wife will always be my teacher in that area. You can always learn something from somebody. People, plant, or animal. You can always learn something. Happy are you that are willing to learn something. You can learn something from your plants. We just pulled off our first bit of gourd. I broke it off yesterday from our garden. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, universe. First bit of gourd. Oh, that baby's long. I'm so happy. Eggplants are just growing below in the backyard in the garden now. Now we're waiting on that okra. Okra, my goodness, they make some of these beautiful big old elephant ear-like leaves for okra. My goodness, I can't wait for them to start multiplying. Baruch Hashem. Thank you, Mother Earth. Super happy, super excited about what Mother Earth and how Mother Earth gives back to us. Eggplants galore just coming off. My goodness, on these two little trees, two little eggplant plants. I tell you, just keep producing. We pluck them off, produce more. Thank you. I see and I truly respect what Mother Earth, how she keeps on. Mother Earth is just the gift that keeps on giving gifts back and replenishes and multiplies. Everything around me I see is multiplied. Not subtraction, not division, but multiply. I tried over, but still no life. Keep trying it. Don't give up. Because there's different ways you can do it. You may come up with a cuisine for okra that has never been heard of before. Hakoin gave you a great remedy. I don't know if you took the recipe about what is it, Hakoin? You kind of fry it for a little bit to deal with so it's not so sticky and greasy. Oh my goodness. Fry it up a little bit first. Maybe add some different spices to it. That may help you out. But if there's a will, there's a way. And just like the Master Yeshua said, just do. Do. Happy are you that do. But you just must be doing the right thing. And it's not from Spike Lee's movie either. You just must be doing the right thing. You must be following and doing the right methods. Many people do Christianity, many people do Catholicism, but they're still not happy. They just do it wrong. I want you all as the children of Israel, descendants from the family of Jacob, to do and be happy doing. When you go through your affirmations, do your affirmations because it makes you happy. Don't do it because it's a chore. Talking to my daughter the other day, I said, Angela, do you like cooking? She's like, I said, do you love cooking? She said, yeah, I like cooking. I said, well, do you love cooking? She said, no, I just kind of see cooking as a chore. I was like, wow. I said, your cooking is going to be good when you put your love in it. When you empower your cooking with your love, when you infuse your cooking with your love, then when you love to cook, that's when your cooking will taste good. But if your cooking is just like a chore, then your cooking will never taste good. It will never be appetizing to anybody because you're doing it like a chore. There's no love in it. There's no happiness in it. Do you see, Mishpah? So you have to infuse and empower people with positivity. Oh, I'm just doing it because it's a chore. How many of you are going through life because it's just life? It's just a chore. Oh, that's a terrible way to go through this wonderful gift of life. Happy comes in the doing, but it comes in proper doing. Clean your feet. Clean your feet. Clean your feet. Clean your feet. How you clean your own feet? You clean the feet of others. I'm cleaning my wife's feet. I'm going to clean her feet. I'm going to clean her feet. I'll lick her toes if you tell me to. Lick her toes. Clean her feet. Because I always have the mentality that nobody can get lower than me. How low can you go? What's that thing when you go underneath that little stick thingy? What the thing is they call it? There's a name for it. When everybody tries to go underneath the rope or the stick, who can go the lowest? And they keep moving the stick down lower and lower. What's that game called? I see it on TV. Anybody know that game? Yeah, you see it. Yeah, the limbo. Limbo. However you want to pronounce it. But how low can you go? I'm going to try to go low because I know in my going low, I'm high. Okay. Somebody not hearing me? Hopefully I'm coming back. France, are you back in the room, France? So I think that's so important. It's like you keep yourself low. Don't give up on what you're trying to do. Don't give up. Don't give up, Mishpah. On your thoughts, on your dreams, on what you want. Just because it doesn't materialize tomorrow, it's okay. Because you have taken the time factor, and believe me, my desire is that all of you take the time factor out of the way. Just take it out of the way. And then take out of the way, well, how is that going to happen? You just keep manifesting these things, and I'm telling you, it'll come. Don't worry about the how, because I'm seeing things coming some unconventional ways that I've never thought of, things, attracted into my life. But I'm doing things. I'm always doing. I have my hand in this cookie jar, this cookie jar, this cookie jar. You need to have your hands in many cookie jars, and as you have your hands in these cookie jars, be happy about it. Don't just say, well, the Rabbi Hakohin always keeps talking about this manifesting and attracting and visualization, and I really don't want to do it. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. If it's a chore for you to do these things, then don't do it. You should be happy. You should be very, very happy to be able to, ring in these things that you want in your life. It should make you happy. But if you're not happy, then don't do it. Well, I'm just doing it because the Kohen said to do it. Oh, wow, what is that? Well, I'm just doing it because I can hear our forefathers, the Hebrews. Well, I'm just leaving because Moses said we could leave Egypt. That I guarantee you, that type of mentality was those people that never saw the land flowing with milk and honey. Because they were just doing it because it was a chore. They wasn't doing it based on choice. I choose to get up in the morning and go through my rituals and write my script. I choose to live a different way. I choose. I think, yeah, Messiah, you may be the only one. Because everybody else is hearing, you may want to reboot your Messiah. You may want to do some reboot. I choose. What do you choose this day? Choose the things that are going to make you happy. Wash your feet. Wash your feet. Wash your feet. And wash the feet of others. Man, that's a great lecture in that. I'm going to repeat what the Master Yeshua said, the Master Jesus of Nazareth. What did he say? He said in verse 17 of John chapter 13, if you know these things. See, you got to be in the know. You see, being in the know, that's being conscious. You got to be in your subconscious, in that I am that the Master talked about up there in verse 13 of John chapter 17. I'm sorry, in verse 13 of John chapter 13. You call me Rabbi and Master. And you say, well, for so I am. You got to be in that I am status, in that subconscious, man. You're conscious, so you're in the know. Who keeps you in the know but the Kohen? For Israel, it's the Kohen going to keep you in the know. Well, I don't know how to do it. That's what the Kohen's for. If you know these things, happy are you if you do. It's in the doing that makes me happy. Because just like our Kohen talked about, when you can begin, how many of you already begin to tick things off on your manifestation charts, on your track? How many of you already begin to tick things off? Meaning things you've already attracted and manifested things. Anybody? Anybody begin to tick things off? You just begin to tick them off. And I'll tell you, that empowers me when I'm able to tick things off and I say, oh, thank you, universe. Because you know what? This stuff really works. That prayer that I was getting from Kenneth Copeland, that didn't work. Kenneth Hagee's prayers didn't work. Praying the rosary to Mary, that didn't work. But what I'm seeing now, I'm seeing these things materialize in my life that works is because I'm in the know. How do you stay in the know? You stay connected to the sons of error. You're going to be in the know. And if you say, Rabbi, I haven't taken nothing off yet, be of good cheer, be happy. Because the first part of the formula is to be in the know. And as you know, the world over, a lot of people not in the know. Yeah, they get residuals. Hakomi will tell you, in his fledgling starting with understand the perfect law, he wasn't in the know completely. But didn't heavens even honor that? Honor his ignorance from where he was at that time? In the future tense, it still came about. It may have taken longer, but it still came about, correct? That's what he said. He gave you his witness. You see? Torah says, I want to give thanks to Abba for working in my life so quickly. And to you, Hakomi, I want to thank you for your intervention. So I am grateful you are in our midst. Oh, indeed. I was offered a job and got it the next day after I asked for your help. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, there it goes right there. Another witness, another watcher, and another worker. Because you gotta work it. The Master said you gotta do it. Happy are those that do. That's the work. You have to put in the work. Once you in the know, you have to do. You have to do, Mishpah. I celebrate with you, Atara, from the great state of Texas. Everything is big in Texas. Oh, you're being all haughty. I'm just stating the facts. Texas is a big state. Everything is big in Texas. Big thoughts, big dreams, big desires, big money. Big house, big car, big, 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 big. You think big, you'll be big. You think small, you will be small. That's how our inheritance was given out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the Master Yahweh use that same principle for our inheritance being given to us? We can read our portion, read it. He says those that are big, you give them the big portions. Those that are small, you give them the small portions accordingly. Oh, Hashem. Thank you to the universe. You see, it's not about these two-step formulas, blah, 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 that they give you in Christianity, that you've been doing, and they haven't worked for you yet. They just haven't worked. They haven't worked. You've been praying till the cows come home. It hadn't worked. And, again, I know a lot of you, you may be caught up on time. Time may be a factor to you because you think your time is limited. But when you begin to think that your time is unlimited, that's when you can become happy. When you begin to understand that you don't have to force anything. Don't force perfect law. Perfect law, let perfect law be. And you be. You be present. Let perfect law be now. And you don't have to go forcing things and run after some kind of timeline. Everything will materialize now. But nothing. Everything will materialize now. But I don't see nothing, Rabbi. Everything will materialize now. Stay in the know and keep doing, and thus you will be happy. But please, Mishpahah, I encourage you to say, don't do anything that makes you unhappy. Please don't. If it doesn't make you happy, then don't do it. For some of you, money won't make you happy. Then don't try to attract money if it's not going to make you happy. Manifest the things that you want in your life that's going to make you happy. You're in the know if you're with the Kohen. With the son of Aaron, believe me, you're going to be in the know. For 2019, 2020 going forward, you're going to be in the know if you're with the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, children of Israel. Our forefathers, the Hebrews, had to be in the know. Who kept our forefathers in the know? That's the quiz for the day. Give me your answer. Who kept our forefathers, the Hebrews, of the Torah, in the know? Anybody tell me? That same pattern applies when you give the answer. The same pattern applies. Who kept our Hebrews, our ancient Hebrews, in the know? Indeed, the Kohanim. Indeed, Moshe kept them in the know. Well, I don't know it. Well, then you go to, who's going to keep you in the know? And the Master Yeshua, what a great bit of instruction he put out there for his rabbis, his students. If you know these things, happy are you if you do. Wow. You got to be in the know. Many folks, Christianity's trying to do, Catholicism trying to do, Islam, they're all doing. But are they in the know? And I would submit to you, in some instances, and at some level, they're in the know. Some level they're in the know. They may not be completely knowing, but at some level they're in the know. And I believe they're rewarded for whatever level of know that they know. You see? Because the inheritance is only going to be given to how much you know. If you know less, that's less. If you know more, then you're going to be given more. You see? This is universal principle. You see? What do you know? You all are tapped into the knowing source. That's going to help you 2019 going forward. Clear up all that confusion. Clear up all of that pent-up anxiety. Clear up all that depression. That stuff needs to be cleared out of the way as you go on your journey. So I just thought I'd mention that about being happy, because I think being happy is so very important. That's an important part of life, is to be happy. How many of you today, you can say, well, Rabbi, I am happy. I mean, because, when you look at human nature, when you look at your human being self, you must understand That is the first premise. Are you happy? You see, you can't go out and please somebody else unless you yourself are pleased. You have to start with self. So you need to ask yourself, see, I noticed as a student of human nature, is that a lot of folks are running around here on this earth. I'll just speak for San Antonio. There's a lot of folks in San Antonio that's just not happy. That's a quick assessment that you can see. And they're just not happy people. Thus what is manifested around them is not happiness. But, angry birds, upset, depressed, anxious. You want to be happy at the end of the day. What do you want? You want to be happy. Now, here's the part. Now you have to go through the steps. You have to say, well, literally, what does make me happy? In your meditations, on this Shabbat, as you rest, sit back and really ponder on this question. What makes me happy? That's what you have to decide. And then you can go from there. And you see, when you put yourself in this situation, you'll attract things a lot quicker to you when you get back to the standard of what makes you happy from self, not from your mind. Because your mind will tell you all kind of things. Make a relationship with J-Lo would make me happy. That's your mind. My mind would say, well, having a relationship with J-Lo as my wife would make me happy. But that's my mind talking. That's not realistic. You see? But you know what my self tells me? Self tells me having a loyal wife would make me happy. A loyal wife. Because I know with loyalty will come love, come dedication, will come caring, compassion. That's what I want. I don't want I don't want to look at. I don't want to window shop. For me, I'm looking at J-Lo. That's window shopping. You know what I want to do? I want to go in the store and make a purchase. I want to go in the store and circulate. That's where I find my loyalty. You see what I mean? How many of you, in any of your aspirations, is dealing with relationship? Put up a capital R if that's you. If any part of your aspiration, any part of your journaling has to do with a relationship. Anybody put up a capital R if that's you. Just any part. Cody says, R for me is my top one, number one. Any of your part has to deal with a relationship. You see, relationship is very, very, very important. Because guess what? If you didn't notice, look at Facebook. We are social creatures. Why do you think Facebook, WhatsApp, all of social networks are so very important? That's another train you might want to jump on as a business. The social network. Because we're social creatures. We don't get on with just ourselves. And a lot of you realize that from your journey. Being by yourself sucks. You realize that. You gained experience in that area. And you realize that great relationship will make me very, very... I bet you, I guarantee you, you get in a great relationship, you'll be happy. You'll be very happy. And for some of you, you'll understand that happiness surpasses having money in the bank. Money in the bank is a great happiness for me, but it may not be a great happiness for you. And I know a lot of people, I know a lot of you have family members, friends, and loved ones, you can say this as well. When you sit back as students of nature and you assess their happiness level is very high, and they didn't even have any money. But they were happy with each other. They were happy in their relationship. And they were just very happy. They didn't need to have a lot of money in the bank. They didn't need to drive that big fancy car. They didn't need to have that big house. But they were happy. You see, there's many different levels. And our different levels may be on how we see and how we project ourselves out in this wonderful life. The doctor, you're responsible, by the way, about the relationship factor. And that's a factor. That if you have a relationship zone and you're manifesting and you're scripting, that's important. And relationship is very, very important. If you think you can go through this world by yourself, you're not going to be successful. Because relationships happen on many different levels. You got business relationship, family relationship, friend relationship. The relationships that can happen on. And we're social creatures. I want you all to understand that. You got to get social. You got to be able to hold a conversation. You got to make yourself presentable. This is why a lot of people are unhappy. Nobody want to be around them. It's because of how they talk, how they, their attitude, how they perceive life is just negative, 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 negative. And if you associate yourself with that kind of negative food, guess what you're going to become? That same negativity. Some of you must take heed to what, the instruction that you're getting from this parsha. Is that you have to get up and move. You have to move. You have to physically move. You have to physically take another step, move to another place. Move. You must move. You must not be settled for just what is. You must move. If you're not happy, don't settle for unhappiness. That can change within you yourself. You can change that. Daniel, a.k.a. Torah Walker, saying relationship with our Abba or Akohin in the gate, with the man in the mirror, and with wives and husbands and our families, our relationship with money, it's a number one on the list, or it should be. Relationships. Your relationship with food. How many of you are happy with your relationship with food? I am. Man, I love these cuisines that that conjure up and the spices and the different things that you can do to food to just make it taste good, make you feel good. Feel good food. There's such thing. Food that make you feel good. Here in America they call it soul food. I don't know what they call it in the East. But they say, this food makes you feel good. There is such thing as a feel-good food. And for you, it may be, my goodness, what is it for you? It may be chicken wings. It may be, oh man, I barbecued some lamb yesterday. Oh my goodness. My wife was biting her fingers off after I let that lamb marinate for about a day, 24 hours in the refrigerator. I put that lamb on the grill yesterday. My goodness. Now, Sean was biting his fingers off. Lamb steak? Sean in it. I'm like, my son, Father's going to barbecue for you today. So happy. Well, you see, feel good food, feel good. What makes you feel good? What makes you happy? All of you should be happy now. There is no reason why you should be happy now. There's no reason. Yeah, you put up excuses. Yeah, you may go back to these past journeys and say, well, you see, you reflect on these past journeys and you can't be happy. But learn from the Israelites, learn from the Hebrews, because they hadn't crossed the Jordan yet, is that you have this dream, then you move to the next journey, then you move to the next journey, then you move to the next journey. You keep moving. If you're not happy, move away from unhappiness. You can do that. Move away from unhappiness and get happy. Goodness, it's just that simple. Don't make it complicated. Israel, you're sojourners. You can keep it moving. Keep moving. It's a physical move. You're going to move from this place to this place. There's a move up ahead. There's a move coming. Don't see life as a chore. Don't see it as a chore. Oh, well, I'm just doing this because the Kohen said I. You don't have to do it. The Kohen is not forcing you. He doesn't have his foot on your throat saying, okay, you're going to do this or else. I'm going to put this Bruce Lee Roy move on you, and I'm going to annihilate you. I'm going to TKO you. I see the video game. I'm going to TKO you. Anyway, by the way, my goodness, I might start looking at these on the stock market. Anybody see that teenager? He was playing that, what was that game? I can't forget that game. He won $3 million playing a video game. What's that? I can't remember that. What's that game? It's very popular. But anyways, he won I saw him on the business news. They said, yeah, this teenager, you sitting down, yeah, I just won $3 million playing this video game. Well, Fortnite, yeah. Playing Fortnite. The little boy won $3 million playing Fortnite. Conventional, unconventional ways to make money, but it seems like this Fortnite and these video games, that's my goodness. That may be something to look at. I'm about to look at some of these things in the stock market and see, what's I'm about to look at the fundamentals. See, it must be very, very popular amongst this age today. I'll tell you, there's so many different things out there, new things. So you have to look at your surroundings around you and say, well, am I happy in these surroundings? I guess playing Fortnite, and the guy got on the show, on the business show, and he was like, yeah, I play Fortnite 8 hours a day. And I won this tournament, some tournament they had up in, I think, New York City had this tournament. Won $3 million. 16 years old, you're right, Daniel, $3 million playing Fortnite. Well, again, he's doing what he loves to do. He loves to play Fortnite 8 hours a day. He would treat Fortnite like a job. And when you know something, the master says you're going to be happy at it, and then you're going to do it, and then you're going to be successful. Wow. That's why I'm telling you, see, I don't love Fortnite. So I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to make $1 billion playing Fortnite, but I tell you what, I might look at buying some Fortnite stock. And when the fundamentals look good, when the Rabbi Kefa, I'm going to be a part of Fortnite in some kind of way. Maybe looking at stock market and say, hey, when's a good time to get in on these stocks, these gaming stocks? Wow, do you see? There's many different avenues that you can take to get to it. But Rabbi Kefa's not going to be sitting here for 8 hours a day playing some Fortnite. Number one, I'm going to get a karate chop to the head from the wife when I try to do so. Because my motivation is to put my energy on her and to make her shine. I'm not trying to get a karate kick to the head. Kung Fu chop to the head because I'm 8 hours playing some Fortnite. I'll invest in some Fortnite. You see, you have to look at the surroundings around you. Many of you have many opportunities to attain wealth with the things that are around you. You just got to pay attention. Just like a queen said, don't get caught up in the politics, but you need to listen to what's going on in the world. I hope you all are paying attention to what's going on over there in the Straits of Hormuz, because there's a lot of action kicking up over there. What's going on with this oil? There's a lot of action kicking up over there in what they call the Middle East today. What's going on with the China relations? How many of you noticed how the stock market just took a plunge? Just off the relationship between two superpowers that can't get along and come together with an agreement right now. Take advantage of that. Everybody says, oh, that's bad. The stock market dropped. And I'm looking like, ooh, that's good. That's a good time. Good time to get in on some mega stocks that cost so much money, but now since they've dropped, my goodness. How many of you have been following this Beyond Meat craze? Anybody on the Beyond Meat? That stock, my goodness, since it came public, I think it jumped up 300%. Beyond Meat, anybody know what I'm talking about? There's these burgers and this meat that's not meat, it's soy-based and all that. My goodness, I never tried it, but that's not my forte. Meat is meat to me. I'm not trying to get some beyond lamb. I want the lamb. I don't want Beyond Meat lamb chops. I want lamb. If I want to eat plants, I go to the garden and pick me some vegetables I have in the garden. I eat plants. But if some people like Beyond Meat, whatever your forte. And they're saying that that's a craze that's going to, it's popular, and you may want to be watching that stock at its fundamentals as well. I'm looking for it to take a hit. It's going to fall down, so you may want to get back in on the fall down. You see? But I tell you what, I'm a meat man, I'm a beef man, I'm from Texas. Everything is big in Texas. Even the longhorn steer, they're big in Texas. I'm a beef man. I love to eat lamb. I'm a lamb man. I love that. I'm a chicken man. I love to eat chicken. But they had a doctor come on and he said, this Beyond Meat, it may not be meat, but it doesn't make it any less healthier for you. Because to process this Beyond Meat, they're putting a lot of salts and all these preservatives in there to make it what it is, to make it taste like meat. So at the end of the day, it's not better than just eating a steak. That's what one doctor kind of said in his professional opinion. But people follow crazes. People jump on bandwagons. You see it in the stock market. You see there's a difference between new money and old money, but at the end of the day, it's all money. And Harkoy says something which I do follow, is I listen to President Trump. I like to listen to him. Because the man owns a lot of real estate. And I like to just listen to what he says. And my wife and daughter, I came home the other day, they were watching the debate from President Trump and Hillary Clinton. And I was like, what the heck are y'all watching that for? That's old news. But you see, they don't get to see these debates in China. So this was all new to them. And they're watching the debate between President, then just candidate Trump and then Secretary Clinton. And I just listening in on it, and I tell you, President Trump, he said some very key things if you're clued up. And I know many of you watched that before, but he talked about how you use the income tax laws to benefit you. And if that's the law of the land, then you take advantage of the laws that's on the table. You must use the laws to benefit you. Who's going to condemn somebody for using the laws that's on the books? If America has this law, the tax law, and you can take advantage of it, then why aren't you taking advantage of it? But, Secretary Clinton was putting him down for doing that. And he said, you know what, I'm smart. And indeed he is smart, because he's taking advantage of the laws that's on the books. All of you need to take advantage, learn from President Trump. Take advantage of the perfect law. That's the law in the books, in our books. Take advantage of it. Oh yeah, well folks will condemn me for doing this. So what? My family had a problem with me because I was following the laws in the book. Oh, you don't eat pork. Well, how's that affecting you that I don't eat pork? It's not permitted for me to eat pork, so I don't eat it. You see, you guys got to be clued up. You need to take advantage of the laws that's in the book. You see? Hakoy said, my president just signed a new beef deal with Europe, so kudos to the farmers producing beef in the USA, sending it to Europe for sale. Oh, indeed, kudos. And that's one thing that you need to learn about our president. Learn from him. Learn from him. Is he knows how to make deals. How many of you in the wheeling and dealing business? You need to learn how to make deals. You want to have good relationships? Learn from President Trump. You got to make some deals. And in dealing, you got to understand there's a give and take. You can't just have it all. That's what we're dealing with China right now in America. It's a give and take. You just can't take all the intellectual properties of America. This president has stopped that, and I'm so happy that he has. You cannot take all the intellectual properties from America and expect us not to be unhappy. No, we're going to have to be some give and take. No more stealing of intellectual property. You want our soybeans? Oh man, let me tell you, the Chinese love soy. You know why? Because they like to make tofu. How many of you like to eat tofu? They like to make tofu. My wife is my teacher. She teaches me how to cook tofu. Of course, I got to spice that up because that's just, I'm putting the Hebrew touch to it. But I'm learning to make tofu. We have our own tofu maker. We make our own tofu in our bank. Our own. We make our own. Hey, growing the soybeans in the garden. But again, it's very, very important. And they want our soy. America, I know here in Texas and in the I guess you would call it the plains area, we make a lot of soybeans here in America. A lot of soy. And they want that. But again, it's a give and take. You can't steal intellectual properties. You're going to have to change your laws to where you can't come in and stealing intellectual properties from America. So it's a give and take. Relationships are going to be about a give and a take. If you want to do the deal, I will and deal with my wife every day. You should will and deal with your boss every day. Negotiate, will and deal. That's what life is about. That's social. Can't have it one-sided, one way. Forget that Democratic, Republican mumbo-jumbo. Don't ask me today, Dad, what are you? I said, I'm nothing. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I'm American. That's what I am. I vote American. That's what I vote. You see? So again, that's what's important. Forget all that mumbo-jumbo political stuff. Throw that out the window. but be relevant with what's going on in the world and see the blessings that are happening. America now is like the gold, is like not only the gold standard, but we're like the standard period. You see, we're the standard. Everybody looks at America. Everybody's flowing all of their money into America. I see it. I'm watching it, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. While all these other currencies are down in the doldrums, the American dollar is super strong. It's super strong, Mr. Hall. I'm stating facts. Everybody looks at America. Some look at America in envy and jealousy, while others want to be a part of it. And that's what you're going to get. Some look at you with envy and jealousy, while others will look at you wanting to learn from you, wanting information from you so that they can be successful, wanting that light to shine in their darkness. That's humanity in a nutshell. We're social creatures, and we need to learn to get on with one another. Forget all this hatred. You're not going to find hatred here. You're not going to find division here. You're going to find inclusion. You're going to find we can multiply together. We can grow together. Because I guarantee you, and I like to watch all these success stories as well, is that even this boy, this boy that won the Fortnite $3 million, do you know what? He had a team with him, and guess what? Not only did he win, but his whole team won. So that $3 million was not just for him alone. He had to divide that up amongst his team. And if you're going to be successful in life, you're going to have a team. How many of you understand that? You're not going to do it all by yourself. President Trump, he has a big team. He has a big team with him in his personal business. He has a big team with him in his White House business as president. You have to have a team. Team could be 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Doesn't matter how many people, but you have to understand, all the successful people in life had a team with them. You want to be successful, so that means you have to do what? You have to be able to establish great relationships. You have to be able to hold relationships. You have to have and make yourself presentable. Not that everybody's going to like you. So what if people don't like you? That doesn't matter. You're not here to get likes. If you're here to get likes, you're in the wrong place. Perfect law is not popular. People don't find perfect law popular because it makes them have to deal with themselves first, to love and like themselves. And you have to get in and do self-analysis. Many people don't want to do that. They'll hide behind self-analysis. You know how they'll do that? Is they'll point the finger at everybody else and place all their energy and vibration on finding the wrongs in everybody else, and they forget to look in their own house and do house clean, meaning connecting with themselves. It's unfortunate, but it's true. You see, it's unfortunate, but it's true. So that's what you must understand, Mishpah. That's what you must understand. That's what they're saying in a nutshell. Yes, I'm excited about life. I'm excited about love. I'm excited about being happy. If you don't want that, then go on. You can move right along. But that's what life is all about. And I'm going to continue to shout this from the mountaintop. I'm going to shout it from the mountaintop. See, again, this is a prime example right on cue. Many people don't like you to be happy, don't like you to be excited, don't like you to be full of joy, full of fervor. Hakohen gets you with the silky smooth. You see, you get the yin with the yang, and then Rabbi Kefa comes in, and he gets you with the big mouth. Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful. Simha saying self is the battle of Armageddon. Wow, that's a good analogy. Simha, you said that well. Well said. Well said indeed. Too many times people look out the exterior. You see, quick to judge, quick to pass judgment, da-da-da. Talk too soft, talk too hard, talk too this, talk too that, blah, 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 blah. Totally miss it. Totally miss this wonder of life. Life is so wonderful, Mr. But so many people go through it, and they go through it and they miss it because they see life as a chore. So they see life as all about you judging this person, that, the other, and the third. You doing this wrong. You don't say that right. You don't pronounce this right. Blah, blah, blah. You're black. You're brown. You're yellow. You're white. My goodness, let it go. Let it go and live in your journey. Because believe me, just like all of you stated earlier, we're all on a journey, Mishpah. Whether you want a journey or not, you're journeying, you're gaining experience, and you're learning lessons. So you're on a journey. Now, whether you stay stagnated or you keep moving, that's on you. Do you want to make your life better, best, better than best, great, magnificent? What type of, if I ask you right now, if you could sum up life in one word, what would you say? I just want your take on it. What would you say? What do you say? Not what would you say, what do you say about your life right now? Audience participation, please, is required. What would you say? That's all I say is awesome. What, if you could sum up your life right now in one word, what would you say? Daniel says grateful. In one word, you can just sum up your life. L woman 10 says peace. Winiko says abundance. One word. One word. Rebecca says adventure. To top of that. Luxury class says turbulent. To top of that luxury class. One word. One word summation. Indeed, it's good. Honest. Indeed, it's good to be honest. Because listen, if you can't be honest with yourself, who are you going to be honest with? If you can't describe yourself, how are you describing me because I talk too loud? You can't even give a description of yourself. Akoni says fantastic. Eddie says battle. Oh, indeed. Indeed, because still, one word summation of life as you see it today, as you live it today, as you know it today, to top of your responses. You see, because now we're hitting home. Because now we're starting to get into that, that subconscious to where we know, like the Master Yeshua said. You got to be in the know. You got to know yourself before you're going to know anybody else around you. That's why I give thanks to the Creator. I give thanks to the Master of the universes. I give thanks to the universe for allowing me to have a lot of years to myself. I've been in a lot of relations, but I had a lot of time to myself. So I had time to really begin to talk to myself, know myself, love myself, see where I needed to make adjustments. Because you understand, life is about adjustments. When you're moving, when Israel is moving from one location to another location, guess what? That's adjustment. You got to pack up and move. You got to pack up and move. You got to pack up, walk, and move. Simha says, overcome. Tada, Simha. None of your responses are going to be wrong, Mishpah. Let me clarify. I was being honest about my life being turbulent. Oh, yes, indeed. I understood it, luxury class. Honestly, I'm telling you, that's a great policy. Because he's honest with himself. And if you can't be honest with yourself, who you fooling? Akoli said his life is fantastic. If your life is not fantastic, don't say your life is. Be honest with yourself. How's your life now? Fantastic. Great. Turbulence. That's a great way to put it, in my opinion, because I can see the ups and downs of life. Ups and downs. Life is going to be up, life is going to be down sometimes. Question is, what are you doing with the turbulence? Question is, what are you doing with the fantastic? What are you doing with the battle? What are you doing overcoming? What are you doing? Then you'll find out that that's going to make you happy. You're going to be happy. You're going to be happy. Because you're at that place where nobody can tell you. I don't care. People can sit there and criticize you till the cows come home. So what? But when you know who you are within yourself. See, because for many years, I was trying to please other people, you see. I was trying to please other folks, other people. Trying to make other people happy. Trying to live up to what other people think I should be. Having my emotions on my shoulder easy to knock off. Oh, you made me sad today, so I'm going to be sad. Oh, you made me depressed today, so I'm going to be depressed. You see? Get off of that, Akoyi. And folks, you see again, another folks coming through angry bird. You know, no positivity. I want to bring negativity, but I ignore that. I stop that. I nip that in the bud. Don't have time to be negative. What was the word you used, Hakoim, when you start thinking negative? What did you say? You said this one word that kind of caught me. You said when you start having those thoughts, you have to. What did you say? You put it in a word where you just stop it in its tracks. You tag it, yeah. You tag it. You got to tag it. You got to stop that in its tracks and change and begin to, paradigm shift your way of thinking, your thought process, and infuse positivity into the situation. Tag, just like these people go, you got to tag them for what they are. They're just angry birds. Tag them and keep going on. Not sit there and wonder, well, the guy, Rabbi, I was in Proud Talk, and that guy said, I'm an MF, or I'm no good, or I have a big mouth, blah, blah, blah. I talk too loud. Oh, so I need to talk soft so I can please that one guy. I am what I am, and I am, and I am. This is I am. I can't change I am. That's what I am. And when you know who I am is, my goodness, who I am is now, oh my goodness. So what? Who gives a flying flute what people think about you? Are you happy? You be happy. Too many times I coalesced in my life trying to please everybody else around me, thus myself not being happy. Who's been there one time or another? You know what I mean. Too many times in my life, coalescing, trying to please everybody around me, wanting everybody around me to be happy, that I neglected myself. Not anymore. I understand myself has to be number one. I have to find myself. I have to be myself. That's in that subconscious, man. That's when you become conscious, and that's when you see a whole new world. And life becomes beautiful. And you appreciate every facet of life, from the plant kingdom to the pet kingdom to the people kingdom. It all becomes beautiful. And you see the relevance and the role that everything plays in life. It's beautiful. And so you can be happy. And you're so happy and grateful for everything that you have and what life has given you, what Mother Earth has given you. It's so beautiful, Miss Bahar, when you get there. So many of you understand that you are on a journey. We talked about what do you remember about your journey. Hopefully the positivity, and if you do remember the negative, learn from it. You're recalling that because you're learning a lesson, so you don't play that same record over again. Not so much that you have to change, but you have to change the type of woman, the type of man that you're going after. If you still following that black book type of man or woman that you want, and you tag two bad experiences, then you might want to say, oh, I don't need to go after that character of man. I don't need to go after that character of woman. I need to change that tag. It has failed me twice, both times. And you need to change that tag, but never give up on relationships. Never give up on love. Never give up on loyalty. Never give up on being happy. What do you remember about your journey? I'm pretty sure every one of the stops of the Hebrews, they can remember something about the journey. Maybe some events happen, some circumstances happen, and each one of these stops that's recorded in history. That's recorded in history. You see? So it's very, very important that you do understand that. Learn from your experiences so that you can make better experiences, better choices going forward. Don't see life as a chore, but life is a choice that you can make today. Each journey is a lesson, and an experience the joy of the moment. I can't find joy in that divorce. Yes, you can. Because I guarantee you're happy now that you're not in that situation anymore. That's one reason to be happy. That part of your chapter in your life is closed and you moved on. But you learned some great and valuable things during that time that you need to carry with you. I say this all the time. You may be angry with that significant other, but at one time or another, 100% of the time, the relationship wasn't based on angry birds. There were some good times in that relationship, right? So you need to find those good times and say, wow, yeah, I did have good times. We did have these good times. 10 years, all the 10 years couldn't have been too bad with the ex. 20 years, 5 years, however many years you put on it. Some of you may have gotten some offspring out of that past relationship. So all the times wouldn't have been bad. You begat a child. And last time I checked, you can't begat a child being angry. You know what I mean? Unless there's some sinister motives behind that. But so you have to keep it positive in all your in every one of your relations, in every one of your experiences. Look at the positivity in it as you go back and assess it. It's going to make you a better man. It's going to make you a better woman. Absolutely it will. You're going to be stronger. You're going to think stronger. You're going to make better choices going forward. Hallelujah. Israel was on the move. Some of you moving now. Move on, then move on, then move on, then move on. This is life in a nutshell. Moving on. Move on, then you move on. If Israel was on the move, then you're going to keep moving. Move on, and then move on, and then move on, and then move on. And then move on. And then move on. And then move on. That's life. Keep it moving. It's when you become stagnated that the problems can come in. It's when you stop moving mentally, moving in your motivations, moving in your manifestations. When you stop doing that, my goodness. Moving is motivation. And that could be a physical move, emotional move, a mental move. You need to move on. Thought process move. You need to move on. Move on. Learn from our ancestors, the Hebrews. Master Yahweh, the God of Israel, kept them moving. Here to here, your journey here to here. Always remember your sojourner, and always remember that you too were a slave in Mitzrayim. You too were a slave in Egypt. That'll keep you washing the feet. Wash the feet. Well, Rabbi, I wash my feet. We're not talking about your feet. Your feet probably smell good and rosy. Wash somebody else's feet. Wash somebody else's feet. Wash the feet. That'll keep you home. Wash the feet. That'll keep you happy. Wash the feet. That's going to keep you whole. It's going to totally change your mindset. The Master Yeshua was teaching his students a very great lesson. A big and giant lesson on happiness. Happy are you? You're going to be happy when you begin to do these things. When you're in the know. When you know what you're supposed to do. And you go out and you do it. And you go out and you do it. That's what's so important. The doing. You've been given great do instructions here from the Kohen. And if you do, for those of you who are listening via YouTube, and maybe you have further questions, please do, phone in to us, connect to the Kohen via email, go to our website, Abrahamic-faith.info or forever-israel.com. Go in there, look at them, get yourself the Abrahamic Faith Bible. That's going to help you tremendously. Purchase that on Lulu, you purchase it on Amazon. Get that, it's going to help you tremendously coming to some understanding of self. Get back to truly meditating and not just prayer mumbo jumbo that they're giving you. This formula that you've been using with a prayer that's just not effective. It hadn't worked. It hadn't worked. And the all-merciful God that He is, He saw me, because I remember I was praying at one time too. I was praying. Well, I was just in my closet like the Master Yeshua talked about. And I wasn't really praying, but I was just talking. Crying out, literally. Like, God, there's got to be more to it than that. And in all His mercy, He honored me. And He brought me to the feet of the Kohen. He didn't bring me nowhere else because I didn't been to all these places in my journey. I didn't been to the non-denominational churches. I didn't been to catechism and Catholicism. I didn't been to Christianity. Now, in my journey, as I begin to cry out, literally cry out in my prayer closet, He brought me to the feet of the Kohen, the son of Aaron. Learn from that. And let me give you a little tidbit in closing as well. Let me give you a little. This is quite instructional. For those of you who may not find yourself happy, I would encourage you to look at it. There's two places in the Bible, in our books, where happiness is talked about the most in our books. Can anybody tell me those books that you think you'll find the most talked about happiness? Can anybody tell me? There's two books that you can go and read, and that I guarantee you they'll boost your happiness, or help you find happiness, increase your happiness. Anybody tell me those two books? Anybody want to take a guess at it? Anybody want to throw some lights on it? Proverbs is one, absolutely, Daniel. One of them is Proverbs. Anybody want to take a gander at the other? I tell you, they're kissing cousins. Hint, hint, kissing cousins. Proverbs, and what's the other one? Proverbs and the Book of Psalms. There you go. These are the two books where you'll find the most happiness. You'll find happiness talked about the most, the word happiness. So when you're feeling like you need to infuse and empower yourself with more happiness, go and read these books. You'll learn from that. True. Yep, Proverbs and Psalms, kissing cousins. If you ever need to refuel in this, go and get the inspiration from those two books in the prophets and the Psalms, well, in the Psalms particularly, in the Proverbs. Those are the two places where you infuse yourself with more happiness. Because guess what? You never plateau out on happiness, by the way. Yes, you can. You can, luxury class. I'll give you the mic. No problem. You can never plateau out on happiness. Never. You can never plateau out. So you can always get more of it. You can always get more. So I'm going to pass the mic to luxury class now. And I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. You all have a wonderful Shabbat. Wonderful Shabbat. Over to you, luxury class. Let me give you the mic. I'm going to give you the mic.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a mic check quickly? I'll be brief. I think when you asked that question, that's actually absolutely true. It's Proverbs and Psalms. And I only threw in Job because even though Job was restored, if you really read the story of what Job went through, I say to the effect, hey, when people say, hey, how you doing? I said, well, I use examples, with Job, hey, listen, with what Job went through, my minor cares are hardly nothing compared to what he went through. So I'm thankful for, what I'm going through, good or bad, it's a good experience. But he was restored, and that's a great thing. I don't know much about the history of the book of Job, if anybody can comment on it, but as far as the origins or the time frame, etc., I'm interested in knowing more about that. But I just think when we think we've got it doing, something's going maybe possibly negative for a while, just look at Job and look what he went through. So it kind of makes sometimes our situations pale in comparison. But thankful for what I have and what I've gone through. Shalom.
Yeah, thank you for that luxury class. The book of Job is around the same time frame as Moses, and it's possible that Moses actually wrote that book. It's quite possible. Now, just to give you an update and a thumbs up for what Rabbi Kefa has been teaching you. We've got a little alarm going off here. I think it sounds like maybe a tester for a tornado. Sometimes they have tornadoes around here, and they give like an alarm to people to be aware. And sometimes they do a test on the Shabbat. They do a test on Saturdays for it. So we're kind of hearing a little background noise over there. Just to clarify from the thoughts that we spoke about earlier, any thought that you have that comes into your mind, from the past, and I want to thank Eddie. Great questions. Keep them coming, because they will help everybody that are too shy to ask questions over here. So any thoughts that come to you, the thought is not you. Thought is just something, memory in the past that can haunt you, that can make you upset, or can put you in a downer. So you can deal with that very easily. You just tag it and you say, this is only a thought. It is not me. It happened in the past. That's it. I'm putting it in the shelf. Down the side. I don't need it anymore. That way, you just get rid of it. The other thing is this, that regards a lot of the law of attraction teachers on the internet. You may have noticed if you're scouting on videos, they always talk about being happy, and they'll say, raise your vibration, do this to raise your vibration, do that to raise your vibration. Let me be very clear. All of that is mumbo jumbo and a load of rubbish. Okay? There's no such thing as raise your vibration. You're not a TV set that you could just raise the volume or lower the volume. It doesn't work like that. You're always in a vibration, always. Whether whatever kind of vibration, your body is always in a frequency. So there is such a thing as frequency. So your body is always in that frequency. Now, to say that you can raise it or lower it, it's like pretending that it's some kind of a switch that you turn the dial and it goes up, and you turn the dial the other way, it goes down. I think that's a lot of crap, and a lot of crappy teachers out there teach this kind of thing. And unfortunately, as far as I can tell you, that my experience on the road, hands down, is just total rubbish. Don't even follow it. Now, what about the fact that they teach you to have a big smile like a joker on your face all the time? That's not possible, because you as human beings, you're going to go through ups and downs. One day you're going to be happy because something favorable happened. Another day you're going to be a little down because it didn't quite go your way. So these ups and downs will come with emotions. Emotions will come, like Eddie said about these thoughts, these memories. They will come and they will make you upset sometimes. Sometimes maybe you're a little bit happy, because you will never always be pulling memories out that are making you happy. Sometimes you maybe deliberately put yourself in a sad state for whatever reason. Maybe you heard Britney Spears songs and you put yourself in a sad state. A lot of Indians, they listen to sad songs, and a lot of these sad songs, they come from these singers that sing these sad songs about maybe love sad songs, maybe life sad songs, and a lot of people dwell on them. And a lot of the Indian subcontinent population, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, those places, a lot of them dwell on sad songs, and they are to be avoided like the plague. Why? Because the sad song will put your emotions in a negative state. It's the only reason why you want to avoid them. Any song that puts you in a negative state, then you want to avoid that song. And any song that puts you in a positive, in an uplifting state, then you want to put it in then you want to listen to that song. So, I encourage you to listen to the song of, I believe it's Rabbi, I Am Great. Good song. Positive song, uplifting, listen to it. I am great. I am wonderful. So I would encourage you to listen to songs like that, opposed to, where the singer is putting themselves down, and you're all, mostly people are reverberating with that, listening to it, and putting themselves into the same kind of predicament, because negativity will bring on negativity. So it's very important we don't do that. Thirdly, like I said, you can't be smiling all the time. You cannot be smiling all the time, because you won't be. So there will be times you're smiling, there will be times you've got a frown on your face. Well, I guess, try not to have a frown on your face. Try to be happy at least. Very least, give thanks and be happy. Happy means that doesn't mean you have a joker's face all the time. It just means that you're jovial. You're getting on with your day. Now, as for manifesting, it doesn't matter whether you're in a miserable state. You could be the most miserable person on this earth. The manifestation will come to you if you are working it properly. That's the most important part of a manifestation. So forget about all these teachers out there that are teaching you that, hey, you're not going to get it because you're not in a happy state, or your vibration is off, or whatever. All of those things. Don't worry about it, because they're not true. They're just what I call, they are not truths. They are just opinions of people, and they don't even have a case, to prove what they're saying. So it's just I wouldn't even go by that. And having said that, because when I was trying to manifest in my early years, I went through a lot of hardship, and I wasn't always with a joker's face smiling all the time. I was serious. Mostly my face was serious. Mostly I was a recluse. I kept myself to myself, but still things came to me on their accord, on their time. So what I learned from this experience is that you don't need to be a joker's face all the time. So you need to be jovial, in a stable mood, not be angry, because these are the things that will put you down. Be angry will put you down. So having said that, try to be jovial, try to be uplifting, and try to be in a stable mood. Other than that, things will come to you. Now, just to give you an idea, as somebody may have asked, and I wanted to give that, about a court case. Sometimes certain people will come across court cases where they have been going to call into court for somebody's filed a case against you, or maybe you fighting the government for some misdemeanor or whatever. So how do we deal with court cases? Very simple. You look at the end result. You live in the end. So when there's a court case pending and you are intending to go to court, first thing I would say to you to listen to read Psalm 45. Very, very good for dealing with court cases. Very, very excellent. Excellent Psalm for dealing with court cases. Apart from that, what you could do is you would live in the end of that court case. So what would be the end? The end would be that you see yourself in the judgment, in the little stand that they put you in, and the judge is on his little judgment seat, and you see, you hear the words, "He is not guilty." So in other words, whatever your name is, and the judge gives out the judgment, or the jury gives out the judgment, and they say, "We find such and such," if your name is let's just say your name is Peter, "we find Peter not guilty." That's what you should be hearing. In fact, in spite of the fact that all the evidence is against you, the solicitor is telling you, "Hey, you're going to lose the case. Nothing is in your favor." You are going to dwell in the end where you only hear, if it's a jury trial, you're only going to hear, "Such and such we find such and such not guilty." That's where you're going to live in the end. When you live in the end like that every day, then that's the answer you're going to get in the actual court case. So your vision that you're writing, and the vision that you're seeing, is you are not guilty. So remember that. It will help you, and it will help you tremendously in real life court cases. So and when I was writing the Siddur, I put down a psalm in the Siddur, and I said that if you read this psalm, you can even be free of prison. People are incarcerated, and sometimes they incarcerate people and they say you can never come out for whatever reason. I put a psalm in there. I said, forget all of that nonsense. In fact, you read this psalm every day, and one day you will be free. You just see yourself as free, and one day you will be free. It's actually there. It's in the Siddur, in the Forever Israel Siddur. So therefore, it's not. Don't listen to what people have to say. You need to be positive, and you need to just be on the case. As I explained to you earlier, if you're on the case and you deal with it correctly, you'll have absolutely no problem. So with that, I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this, and I wish you a happy Shabbat and a happy week ahead for those whose new week has started in Europe. To the people in the European side, and to the people in the US side, it's still afternoon over here. It's early day, so we got a half Shabbat to go. So Baruch Hashem Yahweh, that we have this information that comes right out of our books. We don't need to go seek this information elsewhere. It's right out of our holy books. It's right there, but we need to put it to good use. And so here we are talking about it. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, thank you for attending. We'll see you next week. Have a great Shabbat and great week ahead. Todah. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom.